just like
we'll send you
every
selfie.
time. Yeah, like I would love the selfie. I always love catching up with you guys. But yeah, just, obviously with everything going on at the game, I'm actively watching warm-up as we talk. So It worked out this way.
Yeah, I'm sorry for taking you from warm-up, but you've been known to multitask, so we'll be all right.
Yes.
You can let us know if there's any line changes.
Yes, anything crazy, like just tell us right away.
Okay, let's start with the Senators, because obviously they get a win, make it 3-1. They're into this series. Did the vibe change at all in your conversations with the Senators players? How is this team different from when it was down 3-0, till the opportunity now to make it 3-2?
It definitely changed. I think after that Game 3 loss, they lose in overtime, a random goal from Simon Benoit out of nowhere. Like, you can definitely tell on the faces of certain guys, even older guys like Giroux, like, that felt disheartening. That's literally a word Travis Green said after that game. They felt they played really well, or at least well enough. And for them to just kind of lose on that shot, like, that's a big gut punch. And then you have to find a way to work yourself back from 3-0. But the thing with this Senators team is they entered this series with not that much pressure, at least like 1/8 of that pressure compared to what the Leafs would have. No one was picking them to really win this series anyway. So I guess at that point you have to tackle these games one at a time. And for the Senators team now, for them to get that win in Game 4, the Jake Sanderson goal, not only is that big for them in the context of the series, but as a team that's trying to accumulate as much playoff experience as possible, and for them to do it in front of their home crowd with fans who have been waiting for them to play in a playoff game for 8 years and have tried to stand through all the rebuild and all the draft pick accumulation they've done over the years, like, I think that meant a lot to those players. And for them to kind of take some of that energy and try to channel it over into Game 5, at least we'll see when they actually step on the ice for the game, that could go a long way for them in this series. I still think they've been trending towards playing better as the games have gone on.
Lots to go through, but I just want to stop on the Jake Sanderson overtime winner, because I just wonder, this has been such a young, like, successful season for him. I feel like he's really becoming more of a household name when you talk about, like, talents to watch. Like, how many seasons, over under 3, till he's on the ballot for a major trophy like the Norris? Like, is it like 3 more years until he's on there? I know they were announced today. That's why it's top of mind. But, like, how quickly are we seeing this emergence and people really starting to understand who Jake Sanderson is?
I don't think we're waiting 3 seasons. I have a good buddy of mine who covers the Flames for the other network who tweeted their ballot today, and they had Jake Sanderson 4th. And when I had discussions with colleagues about where or if Jake Sanderson should be on a ballot for the Norris, those were genuine conversations. A guy who has firmly established himself as this team's #1 defenseman. He played 30 minutes the other night in Game 4. He's used in all situations, even during 4 Nations where he got that call up to play for Team USA. He scores in the championship game. There were guys on this team, I think particularly of David Perron, who he was getting phone calls from teammates all throughout the tournament from guys who were just completely surprised at how good Jake Sanderson was. Like, this has been a year-long coming out party for him. This isn't just from this series. This is something that's been basically trending from the beginning of the year to now, and he's taken the work to make himself better, whether it's getting a skills coach in Jonathan Sigala to help him out, or working with Nolan Baumgartner on certain skills and poring over video and even fussing over plus-minus. Like, this is a guy who's taken those steps this year meticulously to put himself in the position that he's in right now, and it's not a surprise that he's slowly turning into a household name in the context of major NHL circles. But to answer your question, I don't think we're waiting 3 years until he ends up on ballots. Nice. Maybe we wait 3 years until he's in a top 3 position, but I think he's going to get votes for the Norris. I don't think it's going to get to a point where, I should say he got votes for the Norris because we have the nominees out, I should say. But, like, I think when those ballots come out, we'll see, I think more than most, potentially give him a 4th or a 5th place vote.
Who do the Senators need more from if they're going to continue to make this interesting, Julian?
I mean, if you're trying to whittle it down to, you know what? I'll whittle it down to one person for you. It's Linus Ullmark. I wrote in The Athletic that I think Game 5 is the game for him to steal. We all know about his playoff record all time since he was in Boston to now. We know about how that Game 1 went for him to this point. I think he's gotten better as the games have gone along, and the fact that he was the better goaltender versus Stolarz in Game 4, that could bode pretty well for him for Game 5, I think. Like, I think for him, if he's able to, like I said, if he steals Game 5, you help plant that seed of doubt on the road, and then you come back home for Game 6, where it becomes anyone's series at that point. But you could call out for Brady to do more. We know he's probably not at 100%. I get who is, but like Brady Tkachuk's still trying his best to get points on the board. Tim Stützle, if you want more from him offensively, I totally understand that, but he's at least been bringing it defensively. If you want more from the Perron, Cousins, Batherson line, sure, they haven't been that great defensively. You want more from them offensively, and that's why they've had instances where they've put guys like Fabian Zetterlund up with them. But at the end of the day, they can have all that work out for them offensively and defensively. And if Linus Ullmark allows 3 or 4 goals tonight, they're ending their season after that.
I picked a name, and it was Dylan Cousins. Now, the reason why is, he's only got 1 point throughout the first 4 games, and that was an assist, and that's fine and dandy. But when he joined the Sens earlier this season, he just looked like reinvigorated, shot out of a cannon. I mean, getting out of Buffalo might just do that for someone that's kind of been waiting for an opportunity to play in the playoffs. But is there a switch that can be flipped again? Is there something that can spark him to be more of an impact player for the Sens? Because we've seen it already in that jersey. I just felt like it hasn't really shown in the first 4 games of this series.
Yeah, I think you're right in that assessment. I think more could be expected from him. I think after that trade where he leaves a situation in Buffalo where he was going to miss the playoffs again, and there's a lot of talented players on that team, but when you've gone through losing year after losing year, it definitely seeps into you a little bit. And then he comes to Ottawa where he knows Drake Batherson very well. There's familiarity with a couple different guys on that team, and even members of the coaching staff through all those times he was with Hockey Canada. Yeah, that definitely surged him a little bit. And also how quickly he got from Buffalo to Ottawa. I think he was with the team in Florida, and then like the very next day he flies to Ottawa and they play a game at 12. You almost have no time to process the fact that you're in a new spot. Like, you just have to find a way to play. And you're right, that whole month, that whole first month he was there, him, Batherson, and Perron, we're talking about one of the more productive lines in the game at that point, with how many points they were able to put up. You need more from them offensively. With the talent that he has, with the frame that he has, you need him more in front of the net. You need him to use his shot more. He's had some opportunities. He needs to get more. I think a big game from this second line goes a long way for this Sens team to get any kind of success.
If I'm not mistaken, Julian, the last time you covered a Maple Leaf playoff series was 2021 against the Montreal Canadiens. Is that correct?
Yes, I believe that was the last time. I wasn't in the building for any of those games, but I remember our chats back in the day, Justin.
Yeah, we talked about that version of the Maple Leafs a lot. So I'm wondering your take on this version of the Maple Leafs. In those 4 years, I know there's a lot of change, coaches, roster, everything, but it comes down to some pretty select players a lot of the times with the Maple Leafs. So how have you seen evolution? How have you seen improvement? What strikes you about the new look version of the Leafs?
They're completely different in terms of, how can I put it? You know what? I'll put it like this. The 2021 Leafs and every other team around then, that's still in that Kyle Dubas era, in the era of the team, right? Like, that's when the computer boy nickname came out for him, and they fussed on analytics, and they were the poster boy for analytics. Like, I don't have natural stat trick in front of me, but like through these games in this series, like, I don't think you're pointing at their analytics as their strong suit. Like, the Sens have been telling us up and down how good they've been at 5-on-5, and they've gotten better at high danger chance generation and all these other different fancy stats that if you go on natural stat trick or money puck you can find. But the Leafs haven't fussed about that. They've played this brand of hockey where they take away the middle of the ice. They might not generate as many shots as they would like, but when they get those opportunities, they're high-end talent. Guys like Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews capitalize at those right moments. I think for this team, the fact that they've shored themselves up defensively, and I know they've always been good defensively in the playoffs, but the fact that they've kind of made that a bit more of an emphasis and being more of a grit grind team and not just so much just relying on high-end talent to get them through, that's a very noticeable change. And this game is still theirs to win. This series is still theirs for them to win. And if they win this in 5, I know maybe some fans might be disappointed that they didn't get it done in 4. But if they win in 5, that's already like a massive change from all these other Leafs teams who have let these other opponents who they should be beating still into these series. Like, if they win this series in 5, already I can already picture it from my colleagues and everyone else I see in the press box who covers this team on a daily basis. They're going to say it's not the same Leafs. We'll see how it looks in the second round if they have to play one of those Florida teams, but I just think in terms of what they've been able to provide up and down the lineup with their look compared to what we've seen where in the previous years where they didn't have that same instinct, this is a markedly different team.
We're chatting with Julian McKenzie of The Athletic, head of Leafs Sens Game 5 at Scotiabank Arena, which will have here on Sportsnet in about 20-ish minutes. Now that you're watching warm-up and you might have had a sense of the lines, will there be any line changes for the Sens tonight facing elimination? I saw that Ridley Gregg didn't practice. Wondering if you know the status on him. People can't wait.
I have eyes on Ridley Gregg right now.
Oh, boy. How's he look? Feisty?
He looks like Ridley Gregg to me. I know yesterday when the Sens practiced, he wasn't on the ice and Matthew Highmore was in the spot, but feels like ever since Game 1, he just hasn't made those appearances at morning skate. It seems like he's fine. Maybe it's just a maintenance thing, but the Sens need a guy like Ridley Gregg in this series. They need guys who are able to get into the heads of their opponents, and I've liked what he's been able to generate for this team in terms of that department while also playing a solid defensive game, playing alongside Shane Pinto and Michael Amadio, a line that I still think, as long as this series goes on, this line carries a ton of importance for this Sens team going forward when it comes to trying to neutralize the Leafs' best players.
One of those best players has been Anthony Stolarz, and we saw the Greg Stolarz thing play out at Scotiabank Arena. So that's one way to potentially get under the skin of Anthony Stolarz or to get to Anthony Stolarz. But I wonder, Julian, not that they're going to divulge too many secrets, but what has been the talk about getting one past Anthony Stolarz? Has there been conversations about, hey, this is how we have to attack this massive goaltender, this guy who's been so good all season long, and despite Ottawa having some great success against Stolarz this season, he's been good in the series and a major difference maker for the Maple Leafs. What's the discussion been about Stolarz from the Ottawa perspective?
Get bodies in front of Stolarz. Get more traffic in front of him. They felt they didn't do that enough early on in this series, and I actually think they've made more of a concerted effort at doing that as the games have gone on. I think you look no further than that overtime winner from Jake Sanderson. There were all those bodies in front of him, and Stolarz can't even get that shot cleanly, even if it's from this off angle. And even from where Sanderson's shooting, you're thinking man, really? He's able to get beat from there? That was the first time in this series where Anthony Stolarz looked beatable. That doesn't mean he was bad. He just looked beatable compared to the first 3 games in this series. But I think a lot of that starts from a lot of net front traffic that the Sens can create. And I think you'll see that a lot as this game goes on here, where you'll have your guys like Brady Tkachuk or even a Ridley Gregg or some other big body that will find themselves in front of an Anthony Stolarz, and either on a second chance shot or a shot from distance, the Sens are going to try to capitalize on that. So, yeah, if you see a lot of white shirts in front of Stolarz tonight, that's by design.
Finish the sentence. The Senators win tonight
if Linus Ullmark is the guy. Linus Ullmark has to be the best goaltender in this game. Like I said before, I think in the last game, he played better. He got the better of Anthony Stolarz. I still think this is the game for him to steal. If Linus Ullmark is that guy tonight, we're going back to Ottawa for Game 6.
Okay. We'll have to see. One last thing, Julian. I saw you were a fellow Billy Talent fan, and you liked the hockey montage that was set to that.
That was sick.
Yeah. I was waiting for one person to tweet that, and it was you. So,
man,
respect.
NHL 06 vibes, man.
Yes.
Billy Talent.
A little red flag action.
Red flag.
I shot off the couch when I heard it. I'm like, yeah, whoa, they're playing Billy Talent.
Yo, you remember when they were at that one award show and they came through in a tank?
Yeah.
I've wanted to do that all my life. I'm a fan.
Okay.
I'm a fan of Billy Talent, man.
Yeah, we know. If Julian wins the lottery
or
one
the
day, we know what
Sens
he's
parade,
doing.
you can do that.
Oh yeah. Parade? I'm not waiting for no parade. I'll do that. I'll do that in my own crib. I don't care.
That's great. Well, Julian, we appreciate you coming on. Enjoy tonight's game, and if it's the last time we chat, we'll see you around in the summer. How about that?
You'll see me around for sure. I'll make an appearance.
Right.
We'll round up the crew and we'll all hang out.
There you go. Thanks so much, Julian. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
That's Julian McKenzie of The Athletic joining us ahead of Leafs Sens Game 5 tonight at Scotiabank Arena.
Okay, so a lot of the Senators' perspective there, of course, with a Senators guest.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe his last game of the year if the
we get him. Send him off right.
Maple Leafs can do the job tonight. What's the most intriguing aspect of Game 5 from a Leafs perspective for you?
Well, let me tell you, I have seen a lot of tweets and a lot of stat packs and a lot of billboards about how poorly the core four perform in closeout games.
Billboards and stat packs.
That's what we are consuming here. And they're very stark differences between a regular game 1, 2, 3, and when it gets to the tough games, the games that matter, the numbers, they don't lie. So I want to see a different Maple Leafs core four, a different mentality, a different feeling tonight. And I have actually felt that way watching this team in this series. Like, we talked about it with Cece and the composure that I feel this team has gained maybe from Craig Berube or has learned from him. I mean, his own coaching staff has to dial it in, but it just feels like they've got a better handle on big moments. And so, yeah, you're going to lose one game. Being down 3-1 is no big deal. You can't win every series 4-0, but it's how do you respond to a little bit of adversity, and that was the first adversity. So tonight my eyes are on what the core four members can do in a game at home ice where they can close out and have such good vibes tonight.
Yeah, it's okay to want more from the core four. They've been productive. 1 point tonight will give the core four double the amount of combined points they had in last year's 7-game series against the Boston Bruins. And again, Nylander missed some time, Matthews missed some time, but still the point remains. 24 points would be would be double what they amounted last year in 7 games, and that would be through 5, of course. The 6 goals would be the same. They already have the same amount of goals, 6 goals so far from the core four. And William Nylander has 5 primary assists. Like, these guys have been, for the most part, doing the job, and if it extends to a core 5 with Matthew Nyes, so be it. The more the merrier, producing at the top of the lineup. But it still feels like each of them could have another moment in them, or should have another moment in them, still could put a stamp on the series in their own way. You can't knock the fact that it was Max Domi and Simone Benoit. But yeah, I think Matthews could give a little bit more in a deciding game. These guys have had a lot of trouble, as we know, closing out series 1-12 in the Matthews-Marner era. John Tavares now 2-9 in closeout opportunities. If he does have the winner in both of those 2 victories that he has with the opportunity to move on, but there's still so much room for these guys to play hero, to do what they are paid a lot of money to do. They've been productive, but that one moment, giving a little bit more, I still think they have it. And I think what's really obvious about this series is that if the best is brought by the Leafs' best players, there's actually no counter to that. Like, if Austin Matthews has a 10 out of 10 game, Leafs probably win. Yeah, same for Mitch Marner. Fair. Same probably for John Tavares. If they play at their peak, Ottawa can't compete with that, even if they play at their peak. So it is on the stick, as they say, of the core four tonight, and hopefully they can close out some narratives with a big victory.
Yep, they're 1-12 in the Matthews-Marner era of closing out winning series. As we know, they've won 1 of them, or 2 of them. But this is an opportunity to kind of change the perspective, and what a better place than to do it at home. If we're looking at a couple other factors for me, I mean, goaltending is huge. Stolarz was first time this series the lesser goalie, but not by much. It wasn't his fault that they lost.
4 goals on 21 shots is not a great stat line.
And I wouldn't say that was the reason why the Maple Leafs lost. They lost in overtime. It's going to happen here and there. And it's not to the point where I'm thinking about putting Joseph Woll in tonight. But I'm just excited to see how he rebounds. He's been full of really good confidence this year. I've never really wavered with my belief in his own belief in his play. So tonight's a big night for him too, and just be better than Ullmark, which you have been. And you can still win this game. Yeah,
Stolarz 8-2 after a loss after his own start this year. So 80% of the time he's able to bounce back. Oddly, though, 25% of his losses this year, 3 of 12, only 12 total losses, have been against the Ottawa Senators.
That's weird.
It's very interesting.
I don't like that. That's a weird stat.
This year, 25%, 3 of 12.
Well, we know that Ottawa swept the season series anyway.
And he was on the hook for
losses
for those. I think, just how does he look? Again, we talked about this a lot entering the series. He only played on 1 days of rest 6 times during the regular season. This will be this won't be because there's some extra rest, but he's done that 3 times in the series already. And in that third stop, he looked not as good as games 1 and 2. We'll just put it that way. So an opportunity for him with a little bit more rest than he had last time to make his mark on the series and bounce back like he's done all season.
We talked about fatigue. I think it's fair that there was a lot of games in a row for everyone, but specifically for a number 1 goalie who wasn't really a number 1 goalie ever. That's the most hockey he's played in a long time. So it's natural to have a game where you're going to have a little step back, but it's what you do the next game. And I think the rebounding, no pun intended, tonight for Stolarz will be important.
Want me to give you the Maple Leafs lines before we hit the break?
I would love to hear those.
Because you hear them now, and then on 680, we'll
That's
give
right,
you the
folks.
update.
Don't forget, 680 News.
Okay, so on this side of the break, while we're still on 590, the top line will be Matthew Nyes, Austin Matthews, and Mitch Marner. As expected, Pontus Holmberg, John Tavares, and William Nylander will be the second line. Bobby McMahon, Max Domi, Max Pacioretty on a third unit, and Lorenz, Lawton, and Yarncroke will stay together, one of the several constants for the Leafs over the course of the playoffs so far. On the back end, it'll be Riley and Carlo, McCabe and Tanev, and as expected, Benoit and Oliver Ekman-Larsson with Stolarz in net. For the Senators, they will counter with this. Brady Tkachuk, Tim Stützle, and Claude Giroux. I can't say it as good as Julian McKenzie says Giroux. I won't even try.
Really
David Perron, again, he says that better. Perron, Cousins, and Batherson on the second unit. Greg will be in the lineup. Third line with Shane Pinto and Michael Amadio. And it'll be Cousins, Gaudette, and Zetterlund on the fourth line. So a familiar lineup as it for Travis Green in this game. Sanderson, the hero in Game 4 with Artem Zub, Thomas Chabot, and Nick Jensen, and Clevin and Montempallo will round things out. Of course, it will be Linus Ullmark in net for the Senators.
I'm not a big curse buster gal, but I have two things to share with our listeners that are interesting and intriguing.
Okay.
It's Curtis Joseph's birthday. Happy birthday, Cujo. Born on this date in 1967.
I mean,
3 days before their last Stanley Cup
thing. But if he was born in 67 and he was the guy for like the best versions of the Leafs teams in my lifetime, why didn't they bust the curse then?
Okay, well, I'm not in charge of when the curses are busted, but I'm going to give you some info.
Doesn't sound right when you say it that way.
Yeah. Got a breaking news alert on my phone about this storm, and which is happening right now. By the way, they've reopened.
Is this another curse buster, the storm?
Yes.
Okay.
They've reopened the tailgate at Maple Leaf Square, so now you can go back again.
That was a brief.
Yes. But
closure.
when I got the notification, it said wind gusts up to 67 kilometers an hour.
Okay.
So, anything there? Anything juicy for you?
I don't know. I mean, the winds are changing. I don't know.
Ah, there you go. A little CC.
I'm trying to involve myself in the potential curses and curse busters and everything that affects this series other than the players on the ice.
Yeah. Well, I feel like tonight, I mean, I'm feeling confident. I think tonight could be a good night for the Maple Leafs, as we talked about it with CC earlier on. 2 years to the day of their catching lightning in a bottle.
Catching lightning in a bottle. And the opportunity was there on the weekend.
Yep.
You can earn yourself some rest here.
Oh,
and you see what the Florida Panthers are doing?
Big time need that rest.
Might need to heal up a little bit before going to war with Marchand, Tkachuk, Bennett. Not to get ahead of ourselves, but oh boy.
Okay. One last time. If you're looking to listen to us on the radio, Leafs Sens Game 7, that will be on 680 News Radio Toronto or streaming on sportsnet.ca/590. If you're looking for the Blue Jays, that'll be next on Sportsnet 590. The Fan will take a quick break and get you set for puck drop. You're listening to Most Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hang.
What's up, insiders? How we doing tonight? Good to see everybody here in the chat. We're getting ready for game number 5, and they gave the warning. They're switching to 680 News. Joe gave us the warning as well. I've got the other computer ready to go. I've got all these sites ready to go. We're getting everything set up so that if Sirius decides to just leave it on 590 and we have the Blue Jays stream here on the Leafs channel, then I'll do my thing here as the creator of this YouTube channel. Because they call us creators, right? So here we are. All right, let's get back to the hockey. I'll be listening and hanging out here. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Andrew Nance, I love the emojis, man, and you rock with that. Member up. You guys want access to those emojis? 99 cents a month. I made it as low as possible strictly because it's about the emojis. That's it. They make the chat better. So join up if you can, and we'll see you back in the chat. I'll be listening, making sure we get the right feed on here. Go Leafs go. Also, big shout out to Mike St. Jean with the super chat. Thank you, my man. Go Leafs go. Let's get the win tonight, buds. Who's with me? Go Leafs go. Go Leafs go.
If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Get Guess who just bundled their home and auto with Desjardins Insurance?
Well, look at you, all grown up and saving money.
Yes, I am.
Mom told you to do it, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Switch and you could save up to 35% on home insurance when you bundle home and auto. Desjardins Insurance. Here for your home, auto, life, and business needs. Certain conditions apply.
This is Trey Anastasio from Fish.
Fish is known for legendary live performances.
The thing that I like the most is that everybody says yes to every idea.
And on-stage improvisation.
When I walk on stage, I've trained myself to go completely blank.
Dive into their weird and wonderful world with exclusive commentary and shows hosted by band members.
There's a lot more preparation than might be seen, but there's also a lot more abandoned than might be believed.
Fish Radio, Channel 29, and at home with the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Chabot. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Liverpool are your 2025 Premier League champions, and no one covered their journey like SiriusXM FC.
This year, they've been absolutely untouchable.
This team was the epitome of a team. From every big moment.
Liverpool with a chance, left foot, and it's in! The most dramatic end to this game!
To every major storyline.
Incredible, especially to win it in Anfield is so incredible.
No one brings you closer to the English Premier League than SiriusXM FC. Channel 157 in the car, and streaming anytime on the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM. The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite team. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it, there's a chance, rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network, there's a Molson with your name on it.
Welcome to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert getting you set for Game 5 Leafs Sens down at Scotiabank Arena. Just a reminder, we will be using 680 News Radio Toronto tonight for the Leafs game as the Blue Jays have Sportsnet 590 The Fan. If you're looking to listen to that, just switch the dial over there. We're happy to have you for a series clinching opportunity for the Toronto Maple Leafs as they are looking to extend some postseason run here and possibly play a Florida or a Tampa.
Yeah, it's a big night for the Maple Leafs. Undoubtedly a big night. You have the opportunity to close out an opponent that's been very, very difficult to accomplish in the Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and I guess Tavares era. The Matthews, Marner, Nylander one extends further. Anyway, 1-12 now with the opportunity to close out after losing Game 4. Now, losing Game 4 is not necessarily the worst thing in the world because they banked 3 victories before dropping that game, but you don't want to let this one linger. You don't want another 48-hour news cycle about, extending that record to 1-13. This is an opportunity. This season has been an opportunity for the Maple Leafs to show that they're a different group. This one is on a silver platter in order to do so. This is a perfect opportunity to change narratives, to advance, to shrug off some of that postseason history the Maple Leafs have a real chance to do something tonight, and I expect them to come out with that understanding.
So do I. Definitely the pressure is on the Maple Leafs, but they've given themselves this opportunity, and I would be viewing it as such. 3-1 series lead. You have the chance at home to send your division and provincial rival home. A sweep would have been. So I'm looking forward to seeing a Leafs team with some composure, with more playoff experience, as we've talked about for the whole duration of this series. They have played way more playoff games. They might not have won many series, but they have played a lot of big games, and tonight is one of the biggest. All right, Justin, let's get to your key to victory. It's brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Built in Ontario, the Honda CR-V Sport delivers the reliability and versatility you'd want in any playoff team, ready for anything and built to go the distance.
It is win the special teams battle tonight. The Maple Leafs and Senators, 32% of all goals in the series have been scored in power play or shorthanded scenarios. I guess a power play scenario is the same thing of a shorthanded scenario, but I digress. It leads the playoffs. 1/3 of one-third of all the goals have been scored with odd man opportunities. The only Leafs loss is when they didn't convert on a power play, and the Senators have power play goals in 3 straight games. So clearly advantages are being seized with man advantages. So I expect the Maple Leafs to roll that 5-forward power play out again and create an advantage for themselves, win this game through special teams.
It did look a lot different when Morgan Rielly was inserted on the 4-minute power play in overtime. I longed for the days, which I thought I would never say, of a 5-forward power play. John Tavares.
Again, not to get ahead of ourselves, but look at what that Florida Panthers penalty kill is doing.
Yes.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's get to the player to watch, presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca.
I'm going with a little nostalgia.
Okay.
A player who helped send the Maple Leafs into the second round 2 years ago to this day. A player who delivers in big moments, who has been consistent all year long, who is a leader, who has the 2 series clinching goals in his life. It is John Tavares.
I mean, that's still pretty good, right?
That's pretty good.
Draisaitl didn't have an overtime goal.
You're
Ovechkin
right.
didn't have an overtime goal. Tavares is 2 series winners. That's
My
awesome.
player to watch is John Tavares. Core 4 for sure deserves their own mention, as you had it. But I like John Tavares to come out tonight after getting hit and injured a little bit in the end of the last game. He's going to be playing with a little bit of a chip. And I'm excited to see what that looks like. Plus 165 for an anytime goal. But I like plus 1,000 for last or plus 1,000 for first goal. Does he get the last goal of the game? Maybe a series clincher. Does he get the first goal of the game to set that arena on fire? If you're looking for some points, JT points for 2+ is 3-1, and for 3+ points is 10-1. I feel like the core 4 tonight, you can sprinkle on any of them.
Yeah, the next core 4 goal will mean they've accumulated more goals in 5 games, assuming they get one tonight, than they did in 7 games against the Bruins last year. So they have been productive. We were talking a lot in the lead up to the series. Can one of these guys put up 10 points? Can one of these guys score 6 times in a playoff series? Not that they're there yet, but they have, to this point, filled the net. And if they can continue doing that, eventually Ottawa won't be able to keep pace.
All right, a great opportunity at hand for the Maple Leafs tonight, and we will send you to Puck Drop with Joe Bone and Jim Ralph, which is next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto and the Maple
Hey, do you ever wonder how life might look if you'd saved a little more? Well, April is Financial Literacy Month, and Planned to AT is here to help. We're a nonprofit helping young people improve their futures through financial wellness education. Our fun, simple workshops help students build healthy money habits and get them ready for the workforce. Text PTAT to 26989 to learn how you and your company can get involved. That's PTAT to 26989.
The Power Play with SickKids.
General Manager of the...
All right, Leafs fans, let's go. Let's get this thing done. Let's get the W tonight. We got to finish this off. A stormy day in Toronto. It's cleared up. And now Maple Leaf Square is back open. Sounds like the feeds everything's coming through fine now. I switched it over to mono, or it came back over to by itself. I don't know, but thank you for the help there in the chat. That's what makes this community so awesome. All of you that are here making a huge difference in building this group of people day in and day out. So I can't say thank you enough. Pierre LaBelle, Lise Ello, Rick Smith, Kyle Barclay, Brad. Oh, there's Brad again. Brad. Cheers, Brad. I don't even have a drink yet. I need to get a drink. There's Andrew Hurd, Christine, Carmen, Blue Haze, Killin' Haze, watching from Nova Scotia. Cheers to Nova Scotia. I can't wait to get out there. I want to do a trip in the summer out to Nova Scotia and check it all out. There's Connor in here as well. Sonia Santos, Mr. Roboto. All right. Love it. Tanti Angie, great to see you. Melissa Baker. Let's go. Let's have some fun here in the chat tonight. Let's fire up our buds to get the win and wrap this series up. Let's go. All right. We'll see you all back in the chat. Go Leafs, go. I'll be monitoring and starting all these other lives. Reminder, basketball NBA playoff pulse stream is starting on Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central in about 22 minutes. If anybody's interested in the Detroit Pistons and New York Knicks, we'll see you back in the chat.
Hey, Jim Rome here. What's cracking?
Hi.
Hope you're enjoying the game. And when you're not taking in a game, find us on Sirius Channel 161, XM Channel 206. In fact, we'll be there every weekday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you've got something you want to break down from this game, you know where to find us. Just make sure you have a take and don't suck.
Step your game up.
That has never changed. In fact, the show has never changed. We're just back home. And it's great to be there. Sirius 161, XM 206. See you there.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it, there's a chance, rebound, Caulfield, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite team.
Oakville for details and experience Maserati Grecale.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs playoff hockey.
Stolarz! Huge save on Shane Pinto!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
They have when leading a best-of-7 series 3-1 as they host the Ottawa Senators tonight in Game 5. And those responsible for the Rig residences brought to you by Molson. Molson, everyone in. Anthony Stolarz has won 3 of the 4 games. 2.24 is goals against average, a .902 save percentage. Linus Ullmark has a 3.44 goals against average and an .848 save percentage. He has been victorious in 1 of the 4 games thus far. The Leafs will defend the goal to our right at a sold-out and raucous Scotiabank Arena. And we're underway. The puck is dropped. And the Leafs will get to center and snap it down into Ottawa territory. Sanderson let it go, and it comes up on the wing. Leafs are able to keep it in. The Lawton line starting for Toronto. Puck along the boards comes to the line. A drive made there by Carlo was picked away by Ullmark. Puck in the far boards, still intercepted again by the Leafs, and fired right back in again.
How do you like the choice of the fourth line start?
I love it. Played high to center ice off his stick. That'll be a high stick if Matthews is able to make contact with it. But now the Senators send it down into the Leaf zone. Tanev taken into the corner by Brady Tkachuk. Puck goes free to Stützle. Stützle around back of the net, and Tanev is all over him like white on rice. Into the corner they go, and they try to dig it free. And it is played up into the slot area, and out come the Leafs. Brought to center ice by McCabe, and backhand down into the zone, but from the wrong side of center, says the linesman, Scott Cherry, and Libor Tanek are the linesmen tonight. Frederick Lecue and Dan O'Rourke are the referees.
Well, I think as much as you like the opening shift from the fourth line, you do not like this icing by Jake McCabe. I mean, he's got 2 more feet to go. Softer dump off the boards. You certainly see when you get to overtime how important face-offs can be.
Pinto loses the draw to the Leafs. And out come Toronto to center, played by McCabe into the zone again, and Chabot reverses it up on the right wing boards, and the Senators get it out at center with Amadio. And on the right side, couldn't make a shot, rolled off his stick. Leafs have launched it high, back into neutral ice. Tavares will pressure as Jensen takes it around back of the net. Played up on the wing and cut off there by Benoit. He gets it down deep again, and Tavares couldn't come up with it as Chabot turns around the goal and gets it ahead for Amadio up on the left wing and played in over the line by Ridley Gregg. Out of the net there was Stolarz and almost gave the puck away, but the Leafs bailed him out there as the puck goes to the side of the goal, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson with a lead pass, and it's Nylander in over the line, a drop pass for Domi, and the whole rush got bogged down, but it looked like Nylander was going to be breaking in all alone. Domi takes his man to the boards, centering pass, hit the goalpost, it's in behind Stolarz, he's down, no indication yet.
Boy, Morgan Riley does his best to fish this off the goal line and put it back into Stolarz, but we have no idea where it went after that, and the cameras are going to tell the story. We didn't see an Ottawa player with his arm up. We're getting a look at it now. Yeah, I don't believe that this goes off Stolarz and back over the goal line, but the Leafs on a nothing play. Ottawa, wait, now we're seeing the overhead, Joe. They get off the goal post.
No, Riley gets there to bank it back, and then you never see it.
Now we're going to get another view.
Oh, wait a minute. Now they do have their hand up here. They may look at this.
No, we're good.
We're good? Oh, all right. Face off to the right in the Leaf zone. Domi facing off with Adam Gaudette, and then Gaudette got waved out. Cousins moves in. The Leafs win the face-off. Just gingerly played off the boards to center by Bobby McMahon. Chased down into on the near boards. McMahon trying to force it in a little wide, and now it's cleared high to center ice, and the Sens will snap it down into the Toronto zone. Brandon Carlo works into the corner and swings it around the wall to the near side. McMahon doesn't get to it in time as Zetterlund played it to the other side. Now the Leafs getting it ahead, and a Pacioretty in across the line. Both teams with exactly the same lineup as in Game 4. Pacioretty around back of the net, dishes it off, and then a wrist shot attempted was fanned upon by the Leafs in front of the net as Bobby McMahon had a roll off his stick. Pass ahead for Matthews, chipped in over the line. Marner was stood up there with a hit. It comes back into the slot. Pass off his stick, doesn't reach the front of the goal. It comes back to McCabe. D to D, it goes to Tanev, back to McCabe and a shot. And that was blocked, and it'll be cleared out at center ice. Shane Pinto getting to the red line and sending it into the Toronto zone. No score early in this one. McCabe, a pass off his skate, and down into the Ottawa zone it goes. Nyes couldn't come up with it. Now Lawton up against the far boards. Nyes is headed for the bench. And a broken stick, but it's kicked along the wall, but not out. Kept in by Benoit. Centering pass was just in behind Calle Yarncrook, who was sliding through the slot area. Puck in the far boards. Lorenz digs it out. Back to the point. Wrist shot coming, but off a skate. It goes well wide. Round back of the net for Jake Sanderson. Leafs with the only shot on goal, even with that scramble down in the Toronto end. Leafs stretching things out as both teams are changing. Left wing feed for Benoit. Up through the middle, attempted pass for Tavares went astray. It bounces back into the Toronto zone. Good hit on Benoit there by Stützle. One-handed ahead at center ice as Tkachuk looked like he was trying to tackle one of the Leaf players. Down into the corner it goes, and here's Giroux coming out from behind the net. Paddle down play made there by goaltender Stolarz. Bank pass to Jensen at the right point. Pass intercepted. Here's Tavares breaking away. Tavares is in a goal! And a pad save made by Ullmark. Leafs with it again, coming out in front. And it comes back on the near boards for Nylander. His wrist shot is kicked away by Ullmark. And the Senators sent it out into the Leaf zone. And the Leafs have started with some jazz here tonight. Played right back down into Ottawa territory. Ullmark leaving it back of the net. Sanderson around on the boards, but not out. Long shot by Riley. A fairly easy wrister that is blockered into the screen by Ullmark.
You and I talked before the game that you would know in the first 5 minutes what kind of energy the Leafs had. We have seen teams, especially on home ice, take control of games early on. We saw it in Dallas last night. Stars came out and scored in the opening seconds of that game. Earlier in the series, you saw it game 4 in Dallas, or in Colorado, when they came out early and controlled the Dallas Stars. So I think from a Leaf standpoint, you're pretty happy with what you've seen in the first few minutes.
Puck deflects off Brandon Carlo at the blue line and goes into the Ottawa bench. They'll face it off deep in Senators territory. Thunderstorm went ripping through here around 6 o'clock or so. They had to evacuate Maple Leaf Square, but they are back out there and in full voice, as is the building inside. Draw to the left of Ullmark. Domi, McMahon, Pacioretty for Toronto. Domi won the face-off. McMahon couldn't drag it to the net. And it's cleared off the boards now by Gregg, but not out. He'll get another opportunity. This time gets it airborne further. And this is going to slow down, Brandon.
Yeah.
What was that all about? Almost tried to negate an icing call.
Somebody was planning an end-to-end rush, right? Well, he had a little bit of jump. I think maybe not knowing exactly where the Ottawa player was.
Better to be safe than sorry. But
face off now to the right of Linus Ullmark as the Matthews line comes out.
And everybody moving a little prematurely. Looking for the puck. Now we're ready to go. Draw one by Ottawa. Played into the corner and launched high into the neutral zone again. Knocked off a stick, but it comes into the slot area for Amadio. He couldn't get a wrister to the net. Pinto around back of the goal, back to the blue line, just kept in. Long shot blocked by Matthews, and he'll circle back in his own zone and send a long lead pass looking for Nyes.
Hand pass?
Hand pass. Not really sure where it hit a hand, but okay. So a face-off is coming out in neutral ice.
Yeah, it was Brady Tkachuk got his glove on it.
I guess, yeah.
But I don't understand. Pass is usually moving forward. That's more of a deflection, but
face off deep in Ottawa territory.
Yeah, Leafs will take that break as the Tavares line comes out now. Tonight with Holmberg back on the wing along with Willie Nylander. That has really been a revolving spot for additions, hasn't it?
Yep. Giroux waved out of the face-off circle. And now Tavares is going to get waved out of the face-off circle. Stützle taking the draw now with Pontus Holmberg. And the draw won cleanly by the Leafs. Nylander drops. A pass in was deflected by Tavares just wide of the goal. Holmberg working back to the point. Far side for Tanev. His wrist shot went wide. Tanev was knocked down on the play, but the puck stays in the zone. Here's a chance for Tavares. Had it knocked off his stick, and now there's a foot race on. Way out of the goal comes Stolarz, and he's going to play it out at center ice. Yeah. Here the Sens back in with a rolling shot knocked away by Stolarz. To the point, Jensen, long shot is gloved by the Leaf netminder.
Boy, the Leafs turn the puck over. Tavares tries to get it to the net, loses control, and everybody's caught flat-footed. As the puck slides down to the other end, it looks like there's going to be a race for it.
Not everyone. Stolarz wasn't caught flat-footed.
Oh, he was on his toes.
Yes, he was.
As he does his best, any jock of an impersonation to come out and bank it out of harm's way.
No score. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News and the Maple Leafs.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver.
What's up, hockey fans, Maple Leafs fans, a few Senators fans, welcome in. But how's everybody doing tonight? Game 5, we're back in Toronto. The Sens survived. It went to overtime again. Maybe we're in store overtime again. How the nerves feeling? Are we ready? I don't know. I'm not ready. I'm hoping we just get it done tonight. I'm going to be cheering loud in the chat and here live with you all, hanging out all night long. Now make sure you all hit that like button down below and share this link out so we can get more hockey fans here in the chat, and especially Maple Leafs fans, to keep growing this awesome community where we go live every single Toronto Maple Leafs game and a lot of playoff pulse games as well. Not every single game. It's not working out right the way, there's just too many videos on one channel. So big shout out to Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central, who's going to be helping us with some of the streams. And thank you for interacting with those polls on our community tab here on the channel to let us know which streams we should stream over on SOP Soccer. So tonight, 2 games over there. Tonight, 4 games over here. Let's get after it. Thank you all for hanging out with us. We'll see you in the chat. And go Leafs go. Let's win this series tonight.
To be there, Sirius 161 XM 206. See you there.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Couple of important birthdays to announce this evening, Mr. Rupp. My son Shawnee is 35 years young today.
Sonny? Wow.
And one of my favorite goalies of all time, Curtis Joseph, is 58 years young today.
What? People are getting older. Everywhere you look.
Yeah, everywhere you... It's a natural phenomenon. Flipped high to center ice by the Leafs. It'll go into Ottawa territory. Chasing it down is Montipalo. Around the goal it comes, and up on the wing, it's played to Zetterlund. Zetterlund gets to the Leaf line before being run out of real estate there by Lorenz. Lorenz gets the puck free. The Leafs play it off the glass. It bounces to the line. And a high stick making contact, says the linesman. So play whistle dead, face off outside Toronto blue line.
Right. And the fourth line has been the most impressive line so far. I mean, obviously, haven't had a ton of skilled edge scoring opportunities, but great energy. They've been physical.
Austin Matthews blocked a shot with his glove, with his hand, and he was favoring it a little bit on the bench, but I don't think it has anything serious. Played around the boards to Riley on the near side in the Leaf zone. Pass ahead at center is flipped ahead, but unable to reach Bobby McMahon, and the Senators have it under control in their own zone. Nick Jensen on the right wing. A long lead pass in over the line. Trying to protect it here is Stutzla. Stutzla on the near board sends it off into the left wing side. Chabot a shot. Knocked down and smothered by Stolarz, or is it? No. It's gone off Stolarz and up into the screen.
Boy, he hurt. Not sure if...
Or did it go off his mask? That's what it was. All right.
Boy, poor coverage for the Leafs on the left wing side, the left point. Chabot just kind of slides down and gets all kinds of free ice to take it to a dangerous scoring opportunity.
You know, there's really no need to be nervous. Anthony Stolarz was giggling with the referee down there, having a wonderful little time with him and laughing it up after it hit him in the shoulder and mask. I feel much better now. Off the boards, it comes to center. Shot in by Nyes. Matthews down the right wing boards into the corner. Blocks it to go around back of the net. Senators get it to the line, and Giroux, a lead pass for Tkachuk, went too far. Now Marner back the other way on the right wing, flipping it into the corner. Matthews with a jam hit on Zub. That didn't connect, but Nyes has it back to the point. D to D, it'll come to McCabe. McCabe saucers it into the corner. Marner centers. Matthews had to collect it off his backhand. Never did get a shot away. Senators get it out now at center ice with a pass for Giroux. And he'll send it down into the Toronto end. McCabe took a bit of a header there as Giroux stepped aside of a hit. Leafs Nyes gets it in over the line, trying to find a man, and his backhand pass for Nylander went nowhere. And now the Senators after the loose puck, but Benoit scooping it around to the near corner. Nylander goes back after it, plays it up on the wing, and Tavares trying to work out, gets to center. Pass back to him on the right side. In over the line, Nylander. And it was just knocked off his stick as it looked like he was going to burst through. Now a shot is directed on goal and was redirected, and a good save by Ullmark. And Pontus Holmberg is in the middle of a bit of a scrum going on. Tavares as well with Montepallo.
Yeah, when Holmberg just went to the net looking for the rebound, I think it was Tyler Clevin was the one that got taken down.
I think it was him who also deflected it, to be honest with you.
Well, face-off will stay inside the Ottawa zone. Boy, the Leafs have had how many? 3 breakaways that almost. That weren't real good opportunities, but that was almost a second for Nylander here.
Draw to the right in the Ottawa zone. No score, 11:15 to play first period. Played into the Toronto end, and Carlo sends it off the boards into the far corner, and around it'll come to Riley. Riley on the near wall gets it out and off Nylander enough to negate icing. Senators go back in their own zone. Chabot got it up on the wing, and a rink-wide pass comes to David Perron. Perron in from a sharp angle, and Stolarz is down to cover up on that and bring another face-off in the Toronto zone with 10:48 to go in the first frame in game number 4. No, 5.
Yes.
I'll be all right.
Well, believe it or not, the Leafs are on a 9-game winning streak. Going back, obviously, to the regular season, their last loss, Joey, on home ice, March 15th to the Ottawa Senators, 4-2. So
well, we don't need that to duplicate.
It's been over a month since they've lost at home here.
Here's McMahon up ahead for Domi. Slides in over the line. Max gets into the left wing corner after it. It comes back to Bobby McMahon. Centering pass, a shot by Pacioretty. He didn't get much on it. And the Senators break it out at center ice. Zetterlund sending it into the Toronto zone. Pushed along the wall to the line. McMahon trying to settle a bouncing puck down. Just gets it to center ice. Leafs have had 5 shots on goal. The Senators 4. Both teams have had a decent scoring chance. The scramble in behind Stolarz, and a couple of good scoring chances for the Maple Leafs at the other end. Senators send it down into the Leaf zone. Around on the far boards, it'll find David Perron. He's taken to the boards. Puck comes free. Now it is Tanev for McCabe. A little gingered pass up ahead for Yarncrook. The Leafs reverse it, and now Tanev has ample skating room and a lead pass off the stick of Yarncrook into the zone. He gets into the forecheck but can't come up with it. And the Senators bring it right back through neutral ice, and Cousins sends it into the Toronto end. Stolarz leaving it there for Brandon Carlo. Carlo up against the boards, draws a crowd. The puck still loose as it comes free to Riley. Riley snapping it around the boards. This will be an icing. And it'll be brought back into the Toronto zone with 9:16 to go in a scoreless first period.
All right, Leafs Nation, you know what to do. No power plays yet. Leafs 0 for 4 in the power play in Ottawa, and -2 on special teams as they give up the short-handed goal in that game.
Prior, they were 5 for 9. Draw to the right in the Toronto end. Scrum, but the Senators control. At the point, Sanderson sends it around the boards. It'll come to Zub at the right point. He lost it. The Leafs are able to get it out, but unable to catch up to it there was Lorenz as the Senators send it back down into the Toronto end, and another icing. And again, the fourth line does its job. They'll get a face-off, offensive zone face-off, and get a change of players here. And they put this together, and you could just, as soon as it happened, you said, you know what? This is going to work out just fine.
Yeah, and I mean, it wasn't until late in the season. Once David Kampf was injured and they had to kind of reshuffle.
Right to the right. Scrummed, but the Sens control back of the goal and swing it around to Kachuk, who will leave it there, and it is brought out by Stützle. Down on the right wing boards, trying to work into the corner. He is jammed in around the wall there by Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but it comes to the point. Kept in there by Chabot. Back around behind the net. Chipped into the corner then by Oliver Ekman-Larsson. That draws a crowd. 3 Leafs are there as it comes to the blue line, but not out. Long shot blocked, and Matthews comes away with it, looking for Nyes. Another partial breakaway, and he had it knocked away. He has it back of the goal now. How many is that? 4?
Yep.
Back to the point. Kept in for Matthews. Matthews can't shoot it. And Nyes trying to get to his man, and so is Willie Nylander. Nylander got the puck free momentarily. Now drags it into the corner. Jensen is there, and the Leafs getting another change of players going. Tavares line over the boards for the Maple Leafs. Tanev reverses the puck for McCabe. He reverses the puck for Pontus Holmberg. And Holmberg gets it out off Nylander's stick. And the Senators have it again in their own blue line. Zub gives it to his defense partner. Gets it returned. Up on the right side, Perron sending it in, and down into the corner. It's cut off by the Leafs. That's drawn a crowd into the corner, and the crowd here responding again. They have been outstanding. Played along the boards for McCabe. Back behind the net now for Riley. Riley looks up ice with the lead pass to find Tavares. Breaking over the line is Nyes, and the shot by Tavares was blocked. It goes into the corner. Holmberg trying to come out with it, knocked it back of the net. Tavares still on it like a dog on a bone. Gets it back to the point, and now here's Ekman-Larsson with a deflection. Oh, what a brilliant save that was from Linus Ullmark. Puck along the near boards, and the Senators can't get it out. Ullmark had a shot go well wide to him, and it's dragged out at center by Sanderson, who plays it into the Toronto end. Huge save from Linus Ullmark. An errant pass going to cost the Leafs an icing now as it comes back into the Toronto zone.
A lot of ices. We haven't been able to get the ice crew out on the ice. Here with 6:41 to go, as every stoppage in play seems to have been an icing, but good opportunity from the point, get it to the net, and it was Järnkrok with the redirection. Matthew Nyes with the almost breakaway right before that.
I gave Ullmark credit for the save, but I think it went off a leaf on the redirection by Järnkrok. Played off the boards to the line. Domi couldn't keep it in. It's a delay. Now your ice crew is going to get a chance to burst through the door.
I feel bad for him down there. They're just waiting by the glass, waiting for their chance to get out there. Here they are.
Great.
More cowbells. Yeah, that's up to the scoreboard too. That's what
there's
they do.
No score. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
When you get a Subaru with symmetrical
What's up, sports fans? Thank you for hanging out with us tonight here on Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central. I'm TSI Mike, and we really appreciate you coming over here and hanging out for an NBA and an NHL playoff game to support our sister channel, Toronto Sports Insider, and their Playoff Pulse campaign for SickKids Hospital in Toronto. We are more than glad to help here on the soccer channel, and in turn, we will be donating 100% of the revenue from these streams directly to that campaign to SickKids Hospital. Now, let's get all the regular business out of the way. Please hit that like button. Please share this link out to your friends so that we can build an awesome community over here, just like we have over on Toronto Sports Insider. As well, please hit that subscribe button if you're new. Turn on the bell so you don't miss it for all of our awesome action. We'll be assisting in the Playoff Pulse, as well as we do Manchester United live stream hangouts and EAFC gameplay with SOP True. Make sure you check that out on TikTok. Now let's get back to the action. We appreciate you being here. Thanks for participating in those polls. Be on the lookout. We're going to start having some polls here on SOP Soccer as well. Good luck to your team. We'll see you back in the chat.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Face off outside the Ottawa blue line. 6.5 minutes to play in the period. No score. Draw won by Tavares. McCabe steps up at the red line and sends it into the offensive zone. Chabot gets it around back of the net. Jensen ran into a traffic jam. Played back of the net for him. Now Nylander chasing, but it's played on the wing for Chabot. And he'll find a little bit of row. Almost tipped there by Tavares as he stick handled his way in front of the Ottawa goal. Senators lose it to Nylander. He can't get it in deep. Jensen with it again. He'll get his defense partner involved, and Chabot with a pass to the line, broken up at the blue line there nicely by Benoit. Cleared into the zone, knocked away on a centering pass, deflected by Tavares to the far side. Then a wrist shot went wide. Zub with a shot off the side of the goal. Benoit comes out of the corner with it. Benoit trying to get it out and has. Nyes. A Lone Ranger rush, just deflects it down into the zone and goes in there with a hit on Shane Pinto. Played by Sanderson around the boards for the Sens. Pinching is Riley to keep it in and goes back to the net. Sanderson launching it high into the center ice area. Riley plays it ahead and off a stick it'll go to Marner. Drop pass for Matthews into the zone, dropping for Nyes. Nyes hit from behind. Penalty coming here.
Boy, a cross-check right into the numbers of Matthew Nyes. I believe it was Ridley Gregg that administered the blow. And fortunately, Joe, the ice crew is coming back out, so you got the first line out, draws the penalty, and they'll get a little rest for the first power play of the night.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio and the Maple Leaf.
Hey, do you ever wonder how life might look if you'd saved a little more? Well, April.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is TSI Mike, and now that we've got your attention, we're bringing you every single game of the NBA and NHL playoffs while supporting SickKids Hospital in Toronto through our Playoff Pulse campaign. Let's grow our global community. Hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell, and join the action.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. Joe Bowen here, voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Playoff Pulse on Toronto Sports Insider is all about playoff thrills and making a difference, with 100% of Leaf playoff stream revenue going directly to SickKids for their life-saving treatments and research. We're aiming for 100,000 insiders to boost our impact. So subscribe now and be a part of this incredible movement. Holy Mackinac! Let's show SickKids Hospital we're here for them. Join us today.
Hey you, yeah you, Easton Cowan, Leafs prospect here. I'm loving these Playoff Pulse live hangouts. Subscribe and turn on the bell to catch every game. Keep the chat buzzing and let's cheer for SickKids together. See you in the chat.
In the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
90 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
First period brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly. Here's the shot by Marner. This buck, there's a rebound. Trickling into the goal crease, smothered by Omar.
Well, you like this, and I think if you had criticism of the four-minute power play in overtime in Game 4, was they didn't have that urgency that we've seen them have when they've had success on the power play. You saw right there, win the draw. Marner gets to the middle of the ice, throws it to the net.
Draw to the left in the Ottawa zone. Tavares won the draw. Played back to Marner on the way to Riley. A shot there by Nylander. Stop. It comes back to Marner. Centering pass. Went off of Nyes. Back of the net for Matthews swinging in front. That was stopped by Ullmark. Cleared to the line. Nylander keeping it in. Nyes on the left wing, half boards. Back of the net for John. Tavares into the corner for Matthews. Curling out. Pass across in the goal crease. Comes to the near wing. Nylander down low. Nylander looking in front. Back to the point to Marner. Marner to Nylander. Right-handed shot. Lets it go. Blockered away nicely by Ullmark. Leafs onto the rebound though. Back to the point it goes. Willie into the corner to Nyes. Centering. Shot by Matthews was stopped by Ullmark. Marner, or at least Nylander with it again. Nylander down low. Nyes coming right out in front. Got a shot. Backhanded away. Marner keeps it in. Matthews on the right wing to Nylander. Back to Matthews in front off a stick. And a shot is blocked. But a penalty is coming to
Toronto,
I think. A broken stick is at a slash. And then Tavares is thundered to the ice after Nyes hammered one of the Senators.
but Nyes hammered the Senator that was chasing him down. So we'll see if that would somehow get even out.
Nyes is going to the box.
Oh, Artem Zub. Boy, he's having a charmed series, isn't he?
Nyes gets a slashing call.
Well, it was Tavares might have been the one getting it. Leafs had a number of scoring opportunities. So it'll be 4-on-4 for 51 seconds.
Trying to see how the stick got broken.
I mean, this was nothing.
No.
This was
just
nothing.
Bad stick.
This was just two guys going for the puck. It wasn't even a slashing motion. Unless I misread. Shane Pino then tried to draw another penalty by charging Nyes and then diving the second he got pushed. But boy, I realize that happened bang, bang. But you're looking at that and saying, I didn't see the stick come up at all.
I think it was just a bad stick. Nylander skates through neutral ice. Into the zone he goes, stops to the near half boards. 4-on-4 here for another 36 seconds. Nylander has to go back after a loose puck in his own zone. Plays it to his goaltender. And it'll be played around back at the net. Has he got enough confidence? Up on the left wing now for Morgan Riley. Riley dropping it back for Lawton. Lawton holds, drops it off now for Lorenz. A Lorenz shot from an angle, swallowed up by Ullmark. Play whistled. The man has ice water in his veins. There's no question.
Now you're talking about Stolarz
no,
or
I'm
Nylander?
talking about Nylander.
Well, always say you got to have confidence in the guy you're out with.
Yeah. What would have happened if somebody decided to do that when you were playing goal?
It did happen.
Yeah?
Once.
Without the appropriate...
Never happened again. I showed him.
That's right. Puck to the side of the goal is smothered after Matthews got combed to the boards.
Well, and you know what? I think it's a trip. Zub's stick gets into the skates of Matthews.
Yes.
Artem Zub. It's like in one of the video games where you get a shield around you. You can elbow guys in the face. Somebody touches your stick, it's a penalty.
Senators on the power play now as Sanderson goes back into his own zone. Penalty kill brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers as the Sens get in with a shot. That was kicked away by Stolarz. To the left point now here is Stützle working into the corner. Stützle around back of the net, gets it back to the blue line for Batherson. Batherson being hounded there by Marner. Marner got the puck free and sends it out and down the ice.
Yeah, that was earlier in the shift. I think Matthews takes off for a shorthanded rush to give Marner a target.
Drop pass now brought out by Stützle. Stützle to the zone. Into the left wing side for Kachuk. It comes back to the point. Looking near side to Sanderson, but gets it back to Stolarz. He had it knocked away, and the Leafs are breaking 3-on-2. Centerman now is Carlo. Left wing side, Lawton shooting. And a good save made there by Ullmark, but a good play by Lawton to make sure the shot was to the short side, making sure that he was going to get the rebound and not have it carry him around the boards and have three guys trapped. Just a heads-up play.
Yeah.
Minute 50 to go and the penalty is over. Sends through center. Chabot in on the left wing with a shot that was blocked. Carried into the corner, and Riley crumples Chabot into the corner, and he's going to get a penalty. Chabot is still down. It certainly didn't look any kind of a serious...
we're going to have to take a look at the replay on this, but in full time, it looked like it was just a push.
Yeah. Chabot is down on all fours.
That'll teach you to get the first power play in a game, right?
Yes, yep.
Oh, now Travis Green is holding up 5 fingers. He wants 5.
Chabot is back up on his skates. The officials are coming to the penalty box, or are they yet? No, not yet. A discussion and
I do love how, things go on during the course of a series. Travis Green wants 5, but nobody has said a word about Artem Zub's shot to the head on John Tavares. I don't even know if this is much of a cross-check, Joe. It's a push, but I don't.
It wasn't. And Travis Green is upset. Now here's the announcement from the officials.
Toronto, minor penalty, 44, cross-check.
So it's a minor penalty.
I wouldn't say it was worse than Craig's on Matthew Nyes, right, earlier in the period.
And it wasn't as bad as the elbow from Zub on Tavares. Penalty kill brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid. Proudly built here in Ontario. Visit your Ontario Honda dealers today.
Now, you watch it in slow motion and you're going, boy, that was a pretty dangerous hit. But
face off in the circle to the right.
Chabot was doing is saying, I got the shield up, I got my back to you, you can't hit me. And Riley said, oh yeah.
Draw one by Toronto. Chris Tanev sends it out on a bounce and down into Ottawa territory with a minute 27 left in the period. The intermission will dissect this power play if the Leafs can kill it off. Sanderson dropping, and Batherson hits the Leaf blue line. Poked off his stick, swatted at but not cleared. Played off on the far side for Kachuk. He gets it back to the point. Sanderson looking for a man, gets wide. Now to Kachuk, a one-timer! On the goal line! Tanev saves a goal! Tanev saves a goal! And it's played out at center, and Scotty Lawton has it. Lawton in over the line, trying to make a play. Bowled over! No penalty there! Stutzla sends it back into the Toronto end. Tanev pulled the puck off the goal line. And it is cleared now by Brandon Carlo. 34 seconds left.
Yeah, they're on the refs now. I don't think it was a penalty when Lorenz tried to get in. I think he just tried to spin away and got body checked to the ice.
Cousins brings it in on the right side. Well, I got 19,000 people that disagree with it. And we had a whistle in the Toronto
That's why
zone.
they're not up here.
No.
Or
exactly.
down there.
Or down there, yes.
That's why we're not down there.
Exactly, because you and I can't afford to be down there. That's why we're up here.
I meant on the ice.
Oh, we could afford to be there if they'd let us. I could sit on the end of the bench with some pillows on.
But Chris Tanev, great job on Drake Batherson. It's Brady Kachuk just shot towards traffic to the far post. It hit Kachuk.
Whoop. Almost came off the end boards past Ullmark. Sorry. Now it does come to Ullmark. Back of the goal. Great job here by Nyes to kill off the remaining time in the period. 12-5, the Leafs outshoot the Senators. They have the better chances. And a couple of heart-stopping moments for the Leaf netminder, but they pull a couple of them off the goal line.
Yeah.
And it's a 0-0 tie after one.
It's been that kind of series, hasn't it, where always the team that necessarily has the best flow or the best opportunities doesn't necessarily find themselves into the lead. And Ottawa very easily could have come out of that with a 2-0 lead despite only having 5 shots on goal. The Leafs have 12 on Ullmark. But Leaf power play looked good, Joe. I think that's the good thing going forward. They get the first power play of the game, and you know what's usually coming. It's a couple of power plays for the other team coming back. So
the other thing, though, is the Leafs had, 4 almost breakaways.
Yeah.
Almost breakaways, and it didn't quite work out. Well, we will step aside, Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert, to take you through our intermission. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio. And the
Alert the press!
We are the press.
Page 6 Radio. A brand new show is on SiriusXM.
I'm Danny Murphy.
I'm Evan Reel.
And I'm Ian Moore, editor at Page 6, the New York Post's iconic celebrity news column.
We're your backstage pass to the hottest pop culture and entertainment stories you won't find anywhere else.
We're breaking stories before you've even had your first mimosa.
It's iconic, legendary, everything. Page 6 Radio, weekdays at 8 a.m. East, only on SiriusXM Stars, Channel 109,
and on the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate
with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick.
Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Chabot. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process.
All right, that was a heck of an ending to the first period. I don't know. That was a tough one there. I think you got to call that as an NHL referee in a game one. When you just made calls like that, I mean, that was not a solid check by Morgan Rielly to cause that penalty. I know the coach was going nuts wanting a 5-minute major. It wasn't even close. Anyways, the refs hopefully will pick this up. Hopefully we don't mention the refs. That's the goal, isn't it? Just call a consistent game the whole way through. That's it. That's all we're looking for. If you call rough, crappy calls, make them both ways. All right, don't make 4 bad calls against one team and 1 bad call against another because it stands out and the fans don't like it. I don't like it, whether it's going for my team or not, honestly. All right, welcome to the club, RW. Thank you for joining as an insider. All right, there's everybody. Hey, there's WJ. TSI, thanks for my hockey. Thank you, WJ, for hanging out with us, man. Really appreciate it. And there's Mark Duffney. All right, Big Hawk, Kem Hickman, Joe Dirt. Wow, Joe Dirt, good to see you. It's been a while. Good to see you. Paul Hamilton, Steve A. Hazard County. What's up, Hazard? Good to see you. Mr. Roboto, Christine. See, I sound the same sometimes. Not all the time. But while you're at it, if you haven't done so already, this is your reminder. Hit that like button. Let's go. Hit that like button down below and share this link out. Let's get more hockey fans here in the chat. We had over 3,000 Maple Leafs and Senators fans with us live right here on Toronto Sports Insider. Now let's make that more. It's intermission. Go refill the drinks or get one or go get a water like me. I'm on water. I don't even have to drive tonight. And I'm just drinking water. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in the chat. Enjoy the second period. And come on, buds, let's get a goal. I do not want to waste any more time here. Let's go. Let's get this done. Let's get a couple goals here in the second period. Get things started. Get that crowd fired up.
Match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favorite team.
Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Gets wide now to Kachuk, a one-timer!
Tanev on the goal line. Tanev saves a goal. Tanev saves a goal. And it's played out at center, and Scotty Lawton has it.
Welcome into Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert taking over your airwaves for Leafs Sens. That is a first period scoreless intermission as we break down Game 5. Sens and Leafs with a 3-1 series lead, looking to close out on home ice. And that period had a little bit of Battle of Florida vibe to it, did it not?
Yeah, it was pretty nasty out there. There was definitely some elements of the Battle of Florida. No, like, completely illegal, suspendable acts, which is what the Battle of Florida has been rife with. But yeah, it was a physical period. There were, and we talked about it a lot in the pregame, the importance of power plays. 3 different opportunities, a couple minors for the Leafs, 1 for the Senators, but no one able to cash yet. Matthew Knies, though, just an absolute force, involved in everything. Like, if there's a main guy in the Battle of Florida, Matthew Knies is living up to or living in those shoes tonight.
Yeah, he had an interesting moment where the puck. So he shoots the puck after the whistle at the goaltender, which is
after slashing
frowned upon.
The stick out of someone's hands and taking a minor penalty.
The stick does break, and he shoots the puck maybe. A half a second late after the whistle's blown?
Give him a half second.
On Allmark on the power play. And then Shane Pinto comes over flying at him, and Knies sits him down with 2 hands to the chest, close to the face. And I was worried.
Really worried when I saw it because we've seen cross checks go up. And it looked like it was a cross check.
He reeled it into the chest
But
area.
he played it really well. And he didn't actually cross check. It was just kind of the 2 gloves, like a double punch to the chest of Pinto.
And he sat him down.
And Pinto went down hard. And, Knies got the only penalty out of all of it. But, like, he kind of alphaed him a little bit. Like, he got the moment where it's like, no, I'm not. You want to come at me? Like, we're going to have a different conversation. And, Matthew Knies has been great in this series. He is so clearly a major part of the future. Like, I know that's a dumb guy take. Like, clearly, yes, he's important to the future of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But if you were doing the draft of untouchables,
he's up there.
He's easily top 3, is he not?
Yeah, I think that's fair. He's like 230 pounds, 6'3", and he made Shane Pinto feel all of it in that moment. I think
we could be 3 or 4 years away from him, like, absolutely dominating playoff series with physicality alone. Like, he's a unicorn in terms of power. I know Brady Tkachuk's a power forward, but for the Maple Leafs don't have power forwards, haven't had power forwards like this. And I think he's only coming into his own. This has been a coming out party for him.
So that one, just a 2-minute penalty, but I think there'll be a lot of debate online about Morgan Rielly's cross check / hit from behind on Chabot.
Thomas Chabot, yeah.
And, when we first watched it, it's hard, like we're watching it live. You don't get the replay, but there is a replay that's circulating, and check your Twitter. And the one angle looks really bad. Like, it looks like he crunches him from behind. So he only gets a 2-minute penalty. That's why it'll be probably pretty heavily debated online. And when you look at the one angle of it, it looks bad. It looks illegal. It looks like a 5-minute penalty. And, this postseason, the refs have been kind of back and forth with how they're calling penalties. Sometimes they're calling a major just to be able to review it. Sometimes, we've seen last night where a player probably should have been suspended, then gets suspended the next day for 2 days, but ends up scoring one of the game-winning goals. So Morgan Rielly and Thomas Chabot, if you get a chance to see the clip, like, the angle is important. And there is one angle that makes me feel like that should have been a suspension.
So we're seeing a lot of things in the playoffs. We're seeing, like, nasty suspendable hits. We're seeing a ton of embellishment. And I think this was something in between where Thomas Chabot is inviting contact in a dangerous area. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. And Morgan Rielly does oblige, so you can't absolve him of any wrongdoing. But I think he knows that he's setting up for, hey, give me a push in the back, basically. And he goes into the boards really hard, but kind of safely at the exact same time. So I think Thomas Chabot knows exactly what he's doing there. And I can't really complain. Like, credit to him. This is the game within the game. You are trying to, within the lines, create advantages and be physical and punish the opponent. And I think this is an example of Chabot just kind of getting the better of Morgan Rielly in a 50-50 battle along the boards.
Yeah, I can already see the Sportsnet intermission panel discussing it now. It'll be an interesting one.
And when I say to get the better of it, like he did go crashing into the boards, but in terms of like creating an advantage for his team, I think he pretty expertly created that for himself.
Another moment in the first period, scoreless, but Austin Matthews blocks a Sanderson shot with his hand. Like it's just instinctive at this point. When you're standing there, the puck's coming at you, you go to grab it. But that was a pretty hard shot from Sanderson. And he ends up, we caught it on the broadcast cameras, icing his hand during his time on the bench. So something to keep an eye on. Like he was out there and played every other shift, but that hurts. And that's an area with zero padding. It's just a layer of fabric. And he caught a pretty hard shot. Probably regrets it, but he's going to ice it up and hopefully he'll be fine.
Yeah, there's probably belief that there are things that are inhibiting him from being like the lethal shooter that we're normally accustomed to. And this would be like adding to those things, right? If your hand is hurting, if you're forced to ice it, that may just be another thing that could prevent Austin Matthews from being, 10 out of 10 in terms of his shooting ability, which is a major, major asset to the Leafs. So something to watch for sure.
All right, we'll take a quick break and we'll get to the out-of-town scoreboard and keep you updated on the other games in the NHL tonight. On the other side of the break, you're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hey everyone, Adney and Burke here to talk about our great podcast, NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers.
Jason Demers here. After playing 700 NHL games, it turns out I have an opinion or two. Whoever's saying trade one of them, you don't know anything about hockey. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm rooting for this team. With new guests every week, we will talk about hockey and more.
Can't wait till you watch the movie because it's the biggest award of her career.
He went into the cheetah exhibit. The cheetah took a piece out of him, and he came into the ring the next day.
Tune in to NHL Unscripted with Burke and Demers, the iHeartRadio app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
When you get a Subaru with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and class-leading safety included, it's like you also get a Subaru that comes with your very own golf club holder, stadium parking navigator, a basketball team transporter, a remote cottage finder, a beaver spotter, a coach hauler, bear country guide, a family road trip carrier, a muddy road controller, extreme wind stabilizer, plus a... And we're out of time. Subaru is the multi-tool that masters every unpredictable weather condition. Visit your local Subaru dealer for great lease and finance options.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Hi, Arash Madani here. At Honda, they built the CR-V Sport just like you'd build a team for the playoffs. Reliable performance? It's a Honda. Versatility? You've got all-wheel drive. High IQ plays? That's Honda sensing technology. Resilience and grit? You bet. After all, it's Canadian. Make your playoff drive count. Bring home the Ontario-built CR-V Sport. Lease today with rates from 0.99% for 24 months. OAC conditions apply. Made with domestic and imported parts. See HondaOntario.com.
Guess who just bundled their home and auto with Desjardins Insurance?
Well, look at you, all grown up and saving money.
Yes, I am.
Mom told you to do it, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Switch and you could save up to 35% on home insurance when you bundle home and auto. Desjardins Insurance. Here for your home, auto, life, and business needs. Certain conditions apply.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs playoff hockey.
He's in over the line, dropping for Max. Max into the slot, shooting shot!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sports. On I almost did it to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto, the Maple Leafs Radio Network. It was bound to happen once. I apologize for that. So let's get to the NHL scoreboard. Presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca.
Okay, 4 playoff games on the slate tonight. Enjoy that while it lasts. The only other game ongoing right now are the Devils and the Hurricanes, and facing elimination, the Devils are meeting the moment. Dawson Mercer, Timo Meier, and Stefan Nason have first period goals as the Devils lead the Hurricanes 3-0. Still to come tonight, Vegas and Minnesota will play Game 5, and likewise for Edmonton and LA. So 2 key Pacific Division plus Minnesota matchups later on tonight as we wind through round 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
One last stat from Sportsnet Stats to send you on your way to the second period. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and William Nylander have combined for 0 power play goals in games 5 through 7 in their playoff careers. Something to keep an eye on, as the power plays and penalty kills might be aplenty in this physical game tonight.
And very quickly, we should note, I mean, the Leafs did pull 2 pucks off the line, off the goal line in that period. So Ottawa did come close to scoring, but remains scoreless after 1.
A scoreless first period. Jim Ralph and Joe Bone will have the call at the second period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto. And
Don't miss a moment of baseball season with MLB Network Radio, including daily interviews with the decision makers from across the league on Sirius XM Channel 89.
This is Terry Francona.
This is Rocco Baldelli. This is Torey Lavillo.
This is Ron Washington.
It's Managers at the Mic on MLB Network Radio, Sirius XM 89. And if you miss any of our Manager at the Mic interviews throughout the week, you can find them on the Sirius XM app. Search MLB.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate
with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick.
Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Chabot. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that, you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then, we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not. And then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play.
Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Liverpool are your 2025 Premier League champions, and no one covered their journey like Sirius XM FC.
This year, they've been absolutely untouchable.
This team was the epitome of a team. From every big moment
Liverpool with a chance, left foot, and it's in! The most dramatic end to this game!
to every major storyline.
Incredible, especially to win it in Anfield is so incredible.
No one brings you closer to the English Premier League than Sirius XM FC, channel 157 in the car, and streaming anytime on the Sirius XM app.
The second period is brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Get insurance that's really big on care at desjardins.com/care today. Leafs to the left, Senators to the right, official at center ice, and the puck is dropped and we're underway. Leafs have 22 seconds to kill on this power play, the second of the game for Ottawa as they clear it into the Senator zone. Sanderson quickly brings it straight back up ice over the line. Got a return pass, but had Tanev knock it off the stick, and now the Leafs. Marner comes to center ice with a glance over his shoulder to see where everybody is, then circles back into his own zone and backhands it ahead. Tavares just failed to connect on that pass, or he was away. It looked like it was going to be just sent to the defense, and then Tavares was in behind everyone.
Boy, the vision of Mitch Marner to find him.
Wrist shot here, swallowed up by Stolarz. And Oliver Ekman-Larsson cleans the house as Tkachuk and Pontus Holmberg. Well, that'd be somebody that Tkachuk would probably enjoy. I said that out loud, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, probably was.
Well, Mitch Marner at the end of that penalty kill circled back towards the Leafs zone. Leafs got a line change in. And Mitch Marner just turns and fires a backhand pass up to Tavares.
But he sold the pass to the defenseman,
Yep.
right? He sold that. Leafs get it out. Nylander, a pass ahead for Pontus Holmberg. He had it knocked off his stick. It comes back to the Leaf blue line. Left wing side for Benoit, and in it goes. Omark stopping it back of the goal. Will play it behind him, and it is played up on the boards by Jensen to center ice. Sens get it in over the line. Knocked back by the Leafs to the blue line. Nylander was able to knock it ahead. Matthews in on that right side, going to the net with a shot. Oh, and he snapped it just wide. The rebound comes all the way to center, and Tkachuk sends it into the Leaf end. Round the boards, it's going to find Nylander on the near wing. He'll just play it into the center ice zone. Sanderson getting it back up on the right side. The Sens get it in with a pass into the slot area. Tkachuk took a header on his own as he fell backwards. Now he's got it back in the net, though. Tkachuk centers in front. Good play by Morgan Riley to tie up Giroux. Leafs counter with Matthews. Cross the line on the left wing for Nyes. Couldn't get it back to Matthews. It's cleared back into the Toronto end. And Tanev is back there for the Maple Leafs. Reverses the puck for Jake McCabe. McCabe reverses the puck for Scotty Lawton. Lawton circles the goal to gather some momentum. Carries to center. Tried to work through the neutral zone, but had it knocked off his stick. Played back into the center ice area. Lawton unable to get to it. And it's cleared to the blue line. And now McCabe gets trapped. 2-on-1 down low. Great play by Tanev. Oh, baby. What a play that was. He deflects that centering pass. Leafs to the near side. A shot. That stopped the rebound. And unable to get it in front was Yarncrook. What a great play that was by Chris Tanev.
He's made a couple of outstanding defensive saves tonight.
Here's Domi in. His wrist shot went off a leg. Centering pass comes right into the slot. No one there for the Leafs. Senators get it out into neutral ice. Senators have had 24 shots total in the last 5 periods of play, including 3 in the first period here tonight. Bouncing puck side of the goal. Comes back towards the blue line. Carlo steps wide. Played it in around back of the net, out of the reach of Bobby McMahon. McMahon takes his man to the boards, but it's back of the net for Tyler Kleven. Kleven gives the puck away. Nylander couldn't get a shot. It's come back to the blue line and cleared out at center ice. Brandon Carlo is back in his own zone for Toronto. To Morgan Riley, up ahead for Tavares. Tavares, a left wing feed. Here's Pontus Holmberg from a sharp angle. Fired well wide, and the carrying rebound comes all the way back the other way. Ridley Gregg gets it down into the Leaf end. Gregg working the boards back to the point. Shot coming off his stick, up into the screen, and out of play.
Well, out of all the opportunities, Joe, I know we had another almost breakaway by John Tavares on the Marner pass. Austin Matthews, you need him to finish in that moment. You got a 2-on-1 break. Matthews, left-handed shot, coming down the right wing. And I mean, usually you would just feel that's automatic, right?
Face-off coming in the circle to the right of Stolarz. No score in the hockey game. 16-19 last second period. Draw one by the Senators. Chabot works to the middle of the ice with a shot. Scores! Thomas Chabot, a wrist shot from right at the blue line. Opens the scoring for Ottawa. And it is 1-0.
The face-offs have been so important in this series. Matthews loses the draw. Tkachuk goes right to the front of the net. Jake McCabe goes with him. And this is just a wrist shot through traffic, just like the overtime winner in Game 4. Stolarz can't find it through the maze. And Matthews might have been the biggest screener of all of them, Joe.
Yeah, he was right there.
Yeah, he was.
And McCabe was in there as well, so Stolarz could not find it. And the Senators, who have been outplayed, find themselves with the lead. Second period. Tip to the line, but not into the zone. And Ottawa have it now with Sanderson. Up on the right side. Played to the line and into the zone it goes, and the linesmen call it offside. So it'll come back into the center ice area. Chabot with the tally. And his first of the postseason. And defensemen carried the load a lot in this offense on both teams.
Including a couple of overtime winners. Sanderson in Game 4. Simon Benoit for the Leafs in Game 3.
Sens win the draw. Near side for Tyler Kleven. Kleven unable to get it into the zone. Tkachuk will launch it in around back of the net. Stolarz couldn't trap it. And Stützle gets it back to the point. Shot blocked. Lead pass for Nylander. He again almost was in behind. Played off a stick and into the Toronto zone. Benoit playing it around the boards, but it'll be cut off by a Senator as it's played back of the net for Stützle into the near corner. Stützle gives the puck away. Pontus Holmberg out at center ice with a pass on the wing for Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who shoots it in. Ullmark gives the puck away. Oh, and it came in front of the net, but no one was there. And then Riley can't keep it in at the blue line as it comes out offside, and a face-off coming outside the zone. Almost a giveaway there by Ullmark.
Leafs big boys, Joe, have got to start to take this game over. You know, I mean, you need your top guys, even, you know, especially 5-on-5, right? They've had their moments on the power play. And Matthews scored his only goal in the series early in the third period to tie the game in Ottawa in Game 3.
Played down into the Ottawa zone. A lead pass goes off a stick into the zone. Out of the net comes Stolarz to play it back of the net. Chipped up on the wing and out at center ice, just out of the reach of Pacioretty. Cleared back in now by Ottawa on a close play on an offside there. But it goes to Morgan Riley, who will get it up on the wing, but not out. Far side, gobbled up there by Cousins. Played into the corner, and Domi out-muscles his man there. Now looks to play it ahead and does. Bobby McMahon through center ice. Pacioretty couldn't take his pass, but McMahon carries down in around back of the net. Slashed it into the corner. Creates enough of a disturbance to keep the puck in with Domi. Off the boards and back of the net. Here's Yarncrook coming out in front, and a pass looking for McMahon went right by him. Tanev to the left side for McCabe. McCabe can't get it in deep. Now the Leafs do. Off the stick of Yarncrook into the near corner, and he slams it. A man, and there's a penalty here.
I think it was a high stick. As Yarncrook went to deliver the hit, the stick came up, or is it Yarncrook getting the high stick?
He's headed for the bench, so I'm assuming it's the Ottawa player.
Boy, that could have gone either way. It looks like Chabot is going to get it, so a great opportunity for the Leafs here on the power play. I thought it looked like both their sticks came up. At first I was certain it was Chabot, but the Yarncrook seemed to get his up as well.
His came up after he got face washed with the lumber. So, second power play opportunity for the Leafs. Their first was dissected with a penalty that negated the power play with about half of it to go. Now the draw into the circle to the right. One cleanly by Tavares. Marner with a wrist shot that deflects wide into the corner. Matthews has it back to the point to Marner. Quickly in front of the net. Tavares! Brilliant save made by the right pad of Ullmark. Leafs continue to press. Here's Nylander down low. Nyes back to Willie. To the blue line to Marner. Marner looks in front of the net. Still with it. Marner works back to the goal with it. Still has it in the far corner. Back to Nylander. Nylander in the slot to Marner. Marner looking for Matthews to Nylander. Overskated the puck. Still has it though. Matthews helps out. Marner trying to keep it in and is pushed to center ice by Ottawa. Nylander across the line. Tavares is bowled over, and it is shot out and down the ice by Ottawa.
Boy, they're going to call that a high stick. And Marner knocked it down. 1:11 to go here in the The penalty to Chabot. So
Face off back in the Toronto end, and the second unit coming over the boards for Toronto.
maybe getting back to trying to be a little too cute, Joe. I mean, you see the goal 5-on-5.
Initially, it was press again, right? And then they got moving around on the outside. Yep. Draw to the left in the Toronto end. Domi, Pacioretty, McMahon, Riley, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Domi, back of the net, leaving it for OEL. He starts out to the blue line, looks back, still has it, now finds Riley on the left wing. Morgan will get it in over the line and go into the corner after, but he was ridden off the puck, backhanded high and out and down the ice by Ottawa. 45 seconds left in the power play. OEL brings it out, drops it back for Max Domi. Domi through center, with speed to the line on the left wing side for McMahon. McMahon swinging it around the boards is going to find Morgan Riley. Riley D to D to the left wing side, kept in and comes in front of the net. Pass to Riley, a centering feed. Oh, he had McMahon on the doorstep, but a great stick there from Jake Sanderson. Intercepts, and it is sent down the ice. He doesn't get a stick on that. That's a tap in. But it's 1-0 Ottawa. Shot back down into the Leaf end. 6 seconds left in this power play. Couple of decent chances, but no result. Left wing side for the Leafs, and a wrist shot by Lorenz went off a skate. Comes back to the point for Tanev. Dish back for Scotty Lawton. Lawton to the left wing side. McCabe in traffic, a shot just missed. And Olmark's going to cover up at the side of the net to stop play. This fourth line is due to score a goal.
Yeah, they were on the ice for the very first goal of this series when Oliver Ekman-Larsson jumped into the rush. But you're right, they've had some opportunities and it looked dangerous in the offensive zone.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Want to get in on the action for the Stanley Cup playoffs? At Bet365, we've got you. From game props, player props, totals, and the money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, the Stanley Cup champions, and much, much more. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Guess who just bundled their home and auto with Desjardins Insurance?
Well, look at you, all grown up and saving money.
Yes, I am.
Mom told you to do it, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Switch and you could save up to 35% on home insurance when you bundle home and auto. Desjardins Insurance. Here for your home, auto, life, and business needs. Certain conditions apply.
When you get a Subaru with symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and class-leading safety included, it's like you also get a Subaru that comes with your very own golf club holder, stadium parking navigator, a basketball team transporter, a remote cottage finder, a beaver spotter, a coach hauler, bear country guide, a family road trip carrier, a muddy road controller, extreme wind stabilizer, plus a... And we're out of time. Subaru is the multi-tool that masters every unpredictable weather condition. Visit your local Subaru dealer for great lease and finance options.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs playoff hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Face off in the Ottawa zone to the right of Linus Ullmark, who has looked sharper tonight than I think we have seen in previous 4 games.
And yet, not a lot clean cut, right? On him, like he's been solid. Obviously, nothing bad, nothing has leaked through. But there hasn't really been a one-on-one situation where he's
now 5 close breakaways.
Yes.
5. Back in the net, Sanderson loses the puck. Centering effort by Nylander went right through the blue paint. And the Sens will get it off under the right wing and carry it into the Leaf end, except it was knocked out of the air nicely there by Brandon Carlo. Brought in by Ridley Gregg. Gregg with a shot. Blockered away there by Stolarz, who looked a little uncomfortable getting there. Back of the net for Gregg again. Centering effort doesn't work. Carlo takes him to the boards. The puck is still free along the near wall. They battle for it. Gregg comes out with it. Round back of the net. Can't come out in front. Gets it back to the point to Sanderson. Sanderson shot off his stick harmlessly wide. Far corner now for Pinto. Pinto trying to center, but it goes off a stick and is going to carry him all the way down into Ottawa territory.
Boy, that was a break for the Leafs. Willie Nylander had broken his stick.
Played on the backhand into the Toronto end. OEL goes around the net. Comes out with a pass that went off a stick. Grabbed off there by Marner. Played out over the line. Delayed offside as the Leafs have to go back to recover the puck, and Marner has it back of the net. Marner starting out with it. A long lead pass for Nyes that went astray as it was just in behind him. And an icing call comes. Chabot from Tkachuk at 3:46 is all we have on the scoreboard. Ottawa won. The Leafs no score. 14-7. The Leafs out shooting Ottawa here with almost half the game in the books.
Only 7 shots against. I mean, the defensive play you've got to like, but let's face it, if Ottawa can find a way to get through this game, you know how the conversation of this series is going to flip squarely back onto a Leaf team that has had trouble closing out series.
Draw one by Ottawa. Here's Chabot at the point. Dished off on the wing, and a wrist shot in traffic doesn't get through. Cousins to the rebound, though. Has it up on the right side. Sent in along the boards then for Perra. Round back of the net. Centering pass back to Chabot. Chabot holds back into the slot with a backhand that didn't reach the net as it was blocked by Matthews. Matthews ties his man up. Puck is along the board, still in the Leaf end. Cleared by Matthews through the 2 defense down into Ottawa territory.
Boy, Perron just right in front of the official had a fistful of Mitch Marner's jersey. Referee saw it, but decided to ignore it.
Did he ask Mitch to sign it?
I mean, it was bizarre.
Played off the boards up on the wing. It comes to an open wing. Domi trying to get there but can't. Sanderson keeps it in around back of the net. Cousins trying to get it out in front, and it's intercepted but not out. At the blue line, Marner still out there, can't get it off the boards. Senators back to the point, D to Sanderson. Sanderson holds, works it back towards the blue line. Back to his defense partner, Zub with a shot. Pad save made there by Stolarz. Marner makes a little between the legs pass to Domi, who flips it out. Pontus Holmberg was flattened on an interference call, but nothing called by the official. Long lead pass. Yarncrook got it down into Ottawa territory. Senators back there, play it up ahead. Here's Tim Stützle in over the line in the slot. Got a shot away that went wide. Tkachuk wraparound try. Smothered by Stolarz. Held for a face-off.
And to the Senators' credit, once they get the opening goal, I mean, they've really settled in. And the Leafs have not been able to generate even much offensive zone time, let alone scoring opportunities.
Just 2 shots so far as the Leafs trail 1-0. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
It's been an American tradition for more than 150 years.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
And you can hear the Run for the Roses on Sirius XM.
Coming down to the wire. Who's it going to be? Oh, it's the photo of the Derby.
Join us Saturday at 10 Eastern for Down the Stretch with Dave Johnson. Then at 2, Steve Pick is live at Churchill Downs for the pre-race show. And at 5 Eastern, hear the 151st Kentucky Derby on NBC Sports Radio Channel 85 in the car and the Sirius XM app.
In case you missed it, on NHL Network Radio.
Butch-Navitz for the deflection. They shoot. They score! Jimmy Snuggerud. His first is a blue. 3-0 St. Louis. It's a power play goal. And in the biggest NHL game of his young career, he scores his first NHL goal. Smile away, kid. Smile away.
NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Under review.
Have wrestled with this one for a while, but I believe we've got our top 5 player of all time. Gretzky, Lemieux, or Howe, and I think it's Sidney Crosby for all-around play. Any discussion, no matter how you slice that loaf of bread, Sidney Crosby's in that discussion. Talk about high-level consistency.
Under Review with Mick Kern. 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Chabot along with Jim Ralph, Armin Zagarian helping us out, Kristen March, Johnny pushing buttons, and Andrew Holland doing absolutely nothing. Shot deflects wide of the Leaf goal. Played around the boards to the far side, pumped around back of the net again for Stutzla. Stutzla carried into the corner, ran out of real estate as it comes back to the point though. Clevin, D to D to the far side. Montepalo's shot went wide of the net. It's back of the Toronto goal. And McCabe got it freed up but couldn't get it ahead to find Lorenz. Now you'll get a second opportunity, and Lorenz gets an outlet pass for Tanev. Tanev to the red line, dumping it in and heading to the bench. Into the corner goes Yarncrook. Lorenz trying to help out. Lorenz has it up against the wall in the corner. Still there. Tried free now by Yarncrook. Back to the point it goes. Wrist shot in traffic is an easy catch for Ullmark as the traffic kind of subsided rather quickly there just as the wrist shot was coming from Brandon Carlo. Face off in the Ottawa zone. 7:56 to play in the period. And the Ottawa Senators leading 1-0.
Ottawa's really played the points tight on the Leafs. You saw there, you get an opportunity to get into the net, but you got somebody charging out, so you didn't have, Tanev didn't have the luxury of waiting for guys to go to the front of the net. He had to get it away quickly.
Draw one and a scramble in front of the goal. Marner couldn't free it up, and the Senators get it out into neutral ice. They'll backhand to the Leaf blue line, quickly played back for Matthews. Matthews with a pass up on the left wing for Riley, on the wing for Nyes, tried to get it in front of the net. Marner was there. Marner with a bit of a bump there, but the puck comes free to Gregg, and he'll get to the red line and shoot it in. Brandon Carlo being pressured by Shane Pinto. Got it up on the wing and off of Marner's stick. It comes to center ice. Chabot got away from the Marner forecheck. Off of Matthews' stick, it goes into the Toronto end. Quickly played back for Matthews. Dished on. Pontus Holmberg works in on the right side. One hands it into the corner, but can't get any further. Senators play it back up on the wing and get it out with speed across the line. Trying to work in now is Batherson. Batherson rolled it into the goal crease area. Knocked away, and the Leafs get it out at center.
Boy, again, that Canucks, Willie Nylander may have a breakaway.
Yeah. I know. He had what? 16 breakaways in the regular season. 6 goals scored on them. Leads in both categories. Here's Tavares to the line and in on the right side. Stops up at the half board. Stick handles into the corner. Centering pass got away from Nylander, who was upended. And the Senators have launched it high. Did that hit the clock? No, it didn't. High enough, though. Played up on the wing then by McCabe. McCabe is able to settle it down to Tanev. Tanev, a quick pass on the left wing for Pacioretty. Pacioretty was taken to the boards, allowing Clevin to come to the loose puck, and the Senator defenseman gets it out into neutral ice. Stutzla trying to go wide. Oh, McCabe had the bomb doors open there, and the bench may have saved Stutzla from being killed. It was right in front of the Ottawa bench. Here's Domi back into the offensive zone. To the point. Wrist shot from Riley. Deflects wide. McMahon. One hands to Pacioretty. Pacioretty back to the point to Riley. Riley to the defenseman Carlo. Back to Riley. Riley to the left wing side for Domi. Wrist shot was off the mark wide. Blockered there by Ullmark. Then McMahon thunders his man Clevin to the ice. But the Senators have the loose puck and are carrying it out into neutral ice. They lead 1-0. 5:14 to go, second period. And the puck goes into the screen, out of play. And another face-off coming in the neutral zone. So, The goal from Chabot, standing the test of time in the second period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Want to get in on the action for the Stanley Cup playoffs? At Bet365, we've got you. From game props, player props, totals, and the money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, the Stanley Cup champions, and much, much more. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup.
Hey sports fans, thank you for hanging out with us and chatting it up. We're thrilled to bring you the Playoff Pulse. Catch every single NHL and NBA playoff game right here while supporting an incredible cause, SickKids Hospital. Together, we can make a difference with every single view.
Holy Mackinac! Joe Bowen here, the voice of your Toronto Maple Leafs. Every moment you watch on Toronto Sports Insider helps SickKids Hospital. 100% of Leafs playoff stream revenue goes straight to their life-saving care, helping kids in our community and beyond. This is what Playoff Pulse is all about, bringing playoff excitement and making a lasting impact for those who need it most. So let's rally together and show sick kids we're in their corner.
Hey everyone, Easton Cowan here. Let's amplify our impact. Every like, share, and subscribe boost our donations to Sick Kids. Watch the games, get hyped, and spread the word to grow our Playoff Pulse community. Join us now.
Leafs Radio Network.
Ottawa won. The Toronto Maple Leafs don't score. Wendell Clark is in the building. That highlight feature they put together is absolute mayhem. I don't know as Wendell touches the puck more than for about 2 or 3 seconds.
I think there's only one goal on it.
Yes. Bouncing puck is going to go to Ullmark, and he covers up.
Well, there was one in the playoffs in '93 against Kelly Rudy. They showed coming out of the right wing side. I think a wrap-up round on Rick Walmsley.
Yeah.
But the biggest reaction, of course, and it was his final year playing, and it was against the Senators in the playoffs when he knocked 2 Ottawa players down.
And
in
the goalie.
one hit, yeah, including the goalie. In behind the Ottawa net. Joe, the first line has got to take this game over.
Draw one by Matthews. Oliver Ekman-Larsson to Riley. A pass in, and Matthews redirects that, but it goes high and up into the screen, out of play.
I mean, you give Ottawa all the credit in the world. They've held the Leafs to just 3 shots on goal, but you're going to keep hearing those stats about the core 4 in elimination games. What is it, 1 in 11?
Yep.
I believe 1 in 12. For 13 times they've had an opportunity to put a series away and have done it just once.
Zub trying to lift it off a body, gets to center. Riley is there to try to backhand it in, but it was knocked out of the air, and Matthews has to hustle back and now reverses the puck for Riley. Riley gave it to his defense partner, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson finds Marner. Marner with Riley and over the line. Riley into the slot with a wrist shot. Marner coming right in the goal. Big save made by Ullmark. Kept alive on the near boards by Riley. Play it around back. Oh, goaltender Ullmark just interfered with Marner right in front of the official. No call. How did you miss that? Down into the corner it goes. Nyes with a good hit. That's got the crowd revved up to the point. Tanev on the wing for Marner. Marner's shot rang off an ankle. Marner gets it again. He gives it to Tavares back to the point. Tanev looks D to D and gives it to McCabe. Into the corner now for Willie. Nylander working it around back of the net. Stops. Still has it, trying to find Tavares, but can't. And it's cleared high to center ice. Oh my. That was blatant. Blatant. Tavares. A wrist shot wide of the goal into the near corner. Pontus Holmberg couldn't come up with it. It's back to the Toronto blue line. Benoit steps up at the red line and chips it in. Holmberg into the corner, trying to get there first, but can't. Sens get it up on the wing, and Giroux looks to play off and gets it up on the right side for Tkachuk. Tkachuk with a pass to the side of the goal. Pontus Holmberg knocked that away. Tkachuk playing it back of the net. Cleared by Stutzla to the point. Chabot with a wrist shot coming, blocked. The rebound into the skates. Tkachuk couldn't get it in front. Benoit volleyballs it into the corner. As it comes to the side of the goal, it'll be covered up there by goaltender Stolarz. He gets a free pass. Stolarz gets a freebie from here on in. He gets to knock somebody on their keister if he feels like it.
I don't believe that's going to happen.
No, you don't.
I mean, it might have been a little bit enhanced by Marner, and we certainly are pretty familiar with this Anthony Stolarz highlights from games 1 and 2, going after Ridley Gregg with slashes and spears. Yeah, I mean, it's by the letter of the law, it's penalty, but I think Marner probably, if they were going to call it, would give an embellishment at the same time, Joey.
Shot from the point, deflects in front of the goal. It goes to the stick of Gaudette. His shot was right on, stopped by Stolarz. Leafs don't get it out. Chabot on the far point. Dished it off to Gaudette. Gaudette, nice little toe drag move. A rebound in front of the goal. Knocked away back of the net. Oh my, Zetterlund had a great chance there. Leafs don't get the puck out initially, but now they do.
Boy, that just off the side of the goal.
Now Pacioretty trying to center, and it bounced over Lawton's stick. Unable to get to it was Lorenz. Cleared out at center ice and bounced down towards Stolarz. He's going to play it ahead. Here's Lorenz in over the line. Lorenz going right in on goal. Upended and knocked down in the goal crease. Played high to center ice. Another breakaway opportunity, and a shot goes wide of the Leaf goal.
I think he falls over the goaltender, Joe.
Does he? He was taking his time. Looked like he had the empty side of the net. And we get a hand pass here, and it's going to come back in the center ice area. The Leafs coming close, but still trail 1-0 with 1:48 to go here in the second period.
Well, it was a great up by Anthony Stolarz. But I think when Lorenz tries to cut back, he goes over the goaltender's left pad.
Well, the Ottawa defenseman made a great play to take away what would have been a 2-0, right?
Yes. It also shows you've got some confidence in your goaltender.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson in his own zone. Got it up ahead for Nyes. Nyes is in across the line. Trying to split it to the defense, and it rolled off his stick. And is scooped up by Ullmark to stop play with a face-off coming in the Ottawa zone. 17-11, the Leafs out shooting the Ottawa Senators. 1:34 to go in the period, and the Sens with a second period goal from Thomas Chabot have a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, the shot is just a wrist shot from the blue line through a screen. That's the difference. That was the difference in overtime in Game 4.
Zub playing it high out and down the ice, and another icing. We'll bring another face-off. Tavares, Nylander, and Marner out here now. I'll check that. Matthews, Nylander, and Marner out here now.
See if this hunch pays off by Craig Berube.
Nylander lost the draw. Played around the boards, but McCabe's going to get there to punch it back behind the net to Marner. Centering pass. Matthews couldn't get a shot. Marner gets it to the side of the goal, but the goalkeeper is down, and Ullmark has it underneath his glove to stop play. Leafs buzzing, but not getting anything, really a clear-cut chance other than...
And that neither team has really given up. Like we said, the Leafs have been close to almost, well, I guess we should say the Lorenz opportunity was probably as clean cut as we've seen from either team.
Face off to the right in the Ottawa zone. Nylander lost the draw. Marner unable to get to it. Sanderson gets it up on the wing, blocked there by the defense. Marner plays it back of the net, and the Senators have it now on the backhand off the glass, but knocked down there by Nylander. Nylander centers into the slot. Marner trying to get a puck to settle down. Back of the net for Willie. Nylander coming out with it. Into the slot. Marner can't get to it. It's deflected, and out at center ice it comes. Pass back for Matthews. Matthews was knocked off stride and has to go back to his own blue line to come away with it. Quickly up ahead it comes. Brought back in by McCabe. McCabe sending it around the boards. He'll find Nylander on the near half wall. A shot. That deflected just wide. McCabe in the corner. Back of the goal. Centered in front for Nylander, and it's deflected up into the crowd on the far side. Out of play. 29.1 seconds left.
Ottawa has been very good, haven't they? Getting the sticks and lanes. And the Leafs have tried to look for men open in front. 29.1 seconds left here in the second. And this has been the best stretch by the Leafs here in the second period.
Face off to the right of Ullmark. 1-0 on the board. Draw a scrum, but it comes back to the point. Riley banks it around back of the net. Tavares coming out of the corner, tried to center, had it hit a stick. He gets it freed up though for Nyes. Nyes back to the blue line. Riley walks, a pass in that was deflected wide. Tanev sends it to the net, and Tavares may have got a piece of that, but Ullmark got a pad in the way after the deflection. Sens send it in on a delayed offside. 3 seconds left in the period, and that will do it. If the Leafs are going to advance in 5 games, they're going to have to do something of positivity in the third. They trail 1-0 on a goal by Thomas Chabot from Kachuk here in the second period.
It's funny how just that one goal is sifts through a maze, and you feel like you're chasing the game, right? When you look at it from a defensive standpoint, the Leafs have been pretty good. Only 12 shots against over 2 periods of play, and yet you feel now you're the team that has got to be desperate in the third period. Stick with your defensive play, but like we've said since the start of the game, the big boys have to come through. It's been great that the fourth line has been good. It's been great that you've had defensemen scoring this series for you. The big guys, this has to be their moment and be a springboard for later success here in the spring.
1-0 Ottawa after 40 minutes, and Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert are coming your way. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio, and the Maple Leafs.
The UEFA Champions League semi-finals are here, and you can hear every moment on Sirius XM FC. 2 of Europe's most storied clubs meet in the Catalan capital, where FC Barcelona,
Lamine Yamal, he's in on goal, he scores!
Square off with Inter Milan.
What a ball that is, and Lautaro finishes it off as well.
Barca versus Inter, tomorrow at 3 Eastern on Sirius XM FC, channel 157.
Ooh, Barca versus Inter. That should be a good one. I'm a big Inter Milan fan. I was actually an Inter fan before Toronto FC fan, because, Toronto FC didn't exist until 2007. But anyways, scrap that. I'm just a sports fanatic. Hence, Toronto Sports Insider, right? Good to see everybody here tonight. All right, the chat is flying. Fazilla, Moose, we gonna lose. No, we're not gonna lose. We're not gonna lose. There's still 20 minutes to go. We're down by 1 goal. We're at home. We've had plenty of chances. Let's get fired up. Let's get ready for the third period, and let's just make this comeback happen. And not overtime. I really don't want to do overtime again, but there you go. Jordan Hicks, thank you for those super chats. Very much appreciated. And a reminder to everybody, during the Leafs games of the Playoff Pulse campaign, every single super chat, every single ad revenue, every single like, everything is 100% donated to SickKids Hospital. That's what we do here. Last year, we only got 7 games against the Bruins. This year, I don't know how many we're going to have, but my goodness. I hope it's just 5 for now. Let's just get a couple goals here in a second. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays are on a comeback here. The Jays are up, or they're down. They were down 7-0 to the Red Sox. They're now down 7-3. We also have the basketball game over on Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central. Check out that and go hit the like and subscribe over there. And we'll send you to those after the game as well. And then we also have the Edmonton Oilers coming up tonight, I believe, right? Or, yeah, I think the Oilers are still coming up. All right, lots of fun here in the chat. Thank you all so much for being here. Cheers with my water. There you go. Oh, Devils and Hurricanes, 4-3. Ooh, good game, huh? Good game. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in the chat. Let's get ready for the third period. Let's go get that win, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, let's go.
Has done a real nice job. It is a retool, right? And the goaltending's been spectacular, but let's see. Don't pick out a parade route yet, boys.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91.
Hey, Jim Rome here. What's cracking?
Hi.
Hope you're enjoying the game. And when you're not taking in a game, find us on Sirius Channel 161, XM Channel 206. In fact, we'll be there every weekday afternoon, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. If you've got something you want to break down from this game, you know where to find us. Just make sure you have it taken, don't suck.
Step your game up.
That has never changed. In fact, the show has never changed. We're just back home. And it's great to be there. Sirius 161, XM 206. See you there.
The world's most thrilling league is now in the palm of your hand. Hear every English Premier League match all season long on the SiriusXM app. Just search for your favourite team.
Oh, they score!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Draw one by the Senators. Chabot works to the middle of the ice with a shot. Scores! Thomas Chabot, a wrist shot from right at the blue line.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. It's a 1-0 lead for the Ottawa Senators after 40 minutes. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert with your intermissions as we break down Game 5, Leafs Sens. Leafs with that 3-1 series lead down in this game. And I got to tell you, the vibes feel off with the fan base, with the group chats, with the people in the arena. It feels like the Demons are starting to poke their head out from the corner and say, what's up?
Yeah, where's Paul McLean when you need him to talk about, what's under the bed? Yeah, if I had to describe the period in a word, it would be unsettling. Because,
perfect.
Yeah, there's not much of a vibe. No juice from the crowd, no juice from the team. And I guess I'm trying to decide which Leaf team this is because we've seen this before, but what have we seen before? We've seen, a team like the one constructed now shell up in these big moments, right?
Yes.
Something on the line, something to play for, something real to attain, and you just don't see the team you're accustomed to. But there's also the team that we've seen this year under Craig Berube that as time looked a little lifeless when it just wasn't going. And I don't know, maybe there's like a handful of games that have looked like this under Berube where it's like, okay, what's this supposed to look like? And this is kind of one of those games. So obviously the preferred option is the lifeless team under Berube that's just not pouring it on from a shot perspective because they're trying to, make sure they're, doing the process is still being attended to, I guess, and it just looks a little ugly. Hopefully it's that and not the team that's shelling up, because if you're shelling up already, period 2, game 5, still a lot of runway left to close this series. If it's already creeping in, that is not a good sign.
The thing that frustrates me most about that period, and I guess the last 40 minutes for the Leafs, is it's not even like the Sens are having this dominant performance and outplaying them. It looks like a mid-November game for both teams, the nobody wants it bowl. I don't feel like either team has really stepped up to the plate, and I think that's what is most unsettling is it's right there for the Leafs. It's there for the taking. They got to score one goal, one more after that. It's not, a 4-0 lead for the Sens, and they're not getting, in my opinion, super outplayed. It's just there's not a whole lot of nothing going on and not a lot of urgency. I don't know if it's just the nervousness of overextending yourself and thinking, okay, what if I do too much and I'm out of place and then the Sens get a goal? It just feels very tense in that building, and that the Leafs are overthinking a lot right now.
It looks like the Senators have decided one goal is enough, and credit Linus Ullmark. He looks like a guy who could potentially make sure that is correct, given that he's played quite well in this game so far. But it's like kind of that soft park the bus territory. Like they're not like overly ambitious, that being Ottawa offensively, but they're not like completely letting the Maple Leafs come at them. So we'll see how that evolves in the third period. But yeah, this is more about the Leafs. I mean, the best moment of offense was created by Anthony Stolarz with a major stretch pass through multiple lines onto the stick of Steven Lorentz, who put a pretty good move on Linus Ullmark.
He just was like 1 second too slow.
It just developed really slowly, and Nick Mutton-Paulo, for his credit, did catch up and break up the play. So it just hasn't been overly impressive offensively. The urgency doesn't seem to be there, at least from the Maple Leafs. They look like they think they have a lot of time, and I guess they do have time on their side, but it kind of also looks like the moments of urgency that were lacking in previous playoffs, where it's just like, hey, okay, someone needs to take over this game. And right now, there weren't many people holding up their hand wanting to do that.
No, I think that you laid it out perfectly. Like somebody needs to come out and take over one period of hockey, and they could win this series. And that's got to be someone like Matthews or Marner or Nylander or Tavares, somebody that can flip the game on a dime. And I think the best case of going into this overtime, oh boy, I might have jinxed it, into this intermission is that it's just a 1-goal game. And the Leafs have been able to come back and been able to, all season long, have great third periods. So it's an opportunity to flip the script and to help everyone that is feeling tense forget about the first 2 periods. That Chabot goal as well, the 1-0 goal here for the Sens. A point shot with a lot of layers of bodies, and that just gave me the same kind of perspective of the Sanderson OT winner. Very similar. Throw a puck on net for the point, have a bunch of moving screens, and it goes right in past Stolarz. Like not too much he could do. There's literally about 3 or 4 bodies going different directions in front of him, and at that point it was 14-4 shots for the Leafs, and they had an opportunity, and they kind of just like let it slip away. So a lot of perspective could be changed in the next 20 minutes.
Bit of a Austin Matthews big game microcosm within all that. And the goal from Thomas Chabot, he had a chance, and this has been a thing. Matthews has had chances. A pretty glorious one in that period to score the goal, but rips it wide of the net, then loses the faceoff, then helps create the screen in front of Anthony Stolarz, leading to the goal. So not the greatest Austin Matthews period, and some blood on his hands in terms of going down 1-0 in the period. But that has been a hallmark of these disappointing games for the Maple Leafs, is that they do have a couple chances and they're like squandered in a way that's like, that doesn't look right. And it didn't look right from Matthews on that chance. And then I think Marner had a great chance as well that was kind of wasted. So Maple Leafs aren't going to get many chances. You got to make sure that you are using them to the best of your abilities.
And that's the first goal surrendered that Matthews, and Marner have been on at 5-on-5 in this series. Unfortunate. Okay, let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the out-of-town scoreboard, which has had some crazy games in the NHL, and we'll set you up for the third period. You're listening to Most Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Network and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hey everyone, Adney and Verk here to talk about our great podcast, NHL Unscripted with Verk and Demers.
Jason Demers here. After playing 700 NHL games, it turns out I have an opinion or two. Whoever's saying trade one of them, you don't know anything about hockey. I'm on the bandwagon. I'm rooting for this team. With new guests every week, we will talk about hockey and more.
Can't wait till you watch the movie because it's the biggest award of her career.
He went into the cheat.
Whoa! Unbelievable. Crux Rux, thank you so much. $50 super chat. That is amazing. Super chat. What? 50? Wow. Unbelievable. All going to SickKids Hospital. Well, of course, YouTube takes their cut, but that I can't help. I'm sorry, but we got to talk to YouTube about that. But there are ways around that, too, that I'm working on. Now, thank you so much for that donation. Now, let's get ready for the third period. Come on, Leafs fans. Get loud. Let's go. Chat it up. We got a few more minutes left. Oh, man. Get those drinks ready. I'm going to pour my first of the night. Not much left here. It's time to get a new bottle. Had this guy for a while. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in there.
Didn't she? Yes, she did.
Get insurance that's really big on care. Switch and you could save up to 35% on home insurance when you bundle home and auto. Desjardins Insurance. Here for your home, auto, life, and business needs. Certain conditions apply.
When you get a Subaru with some...
Hey, Red Hill. The Blue Jays are playing right now, too. I had the Leafs hat. Dang it. Well, I had the other Leafs hat upstairs. But fine, you okay? Look, the Jays are playing. I'm trying to get the rally cap going for the Blue Jays because they're down 7-2. I thought it was 7-3, but it's 7-2. They need some help because that season is slipping away fast. It is not pretty in Blue Jay land, but we got to get back to hockey. We're here for hockey. Let's go. Get the Leafs hat on. We'll see you back in there.
Like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Hi, Arash Madani here. At Honda, they built the CR-V Sport just like you'd build a team for the playoffs. Reliable performance? It's a Honda. Versatility? You've got all-wheel drive. High IQ plays? That's Honda sensing technology. Resilience and grit? You bet. After all, it's Canadian. Make your playoff drive count. Bring home the Ontario-built CR-V Sport. Lease today with rates from 0.99% for 24 months. OAC conditions apply. Made with domestic and imported parts. See HondaOntario.com.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs playoff hockey.
You know that's game on.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The NHL scoreboard is presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca.
The Hurricanes and Devils are suffering from no such issues compared to the Maple Leafs and Senators.
It's a wild game.
The game is bonkers. Let's just run it down for you very quickly. A 3-0 lead for the Devils after one. Within 5 minutes and 40 seconds in the second, the Hurricanes had tied it, so we're 3-3 now. Nico Hischier scores to give the Devils back the lead when it looked like the Hurricanes were going to run away from it. And then just like 4 minutes later, Sebastian Aho scores to tie. So we are a little over the halfway mark of the second period. 8 total goals, 4 apiece. This one might hit 12,
I would
13.
love it.
The goaltending is shambolic. Could lend some goals to the Maple Leafs.
Yes, they could. Any other games?
Oh, it's still to come tonight. Sorry. Minnesota and Vegas.
You just stopped talking.
That's still to come. Minnesota and Vegas, LA and Edmonton. It's a busy night in the Stanley Cup playoffs. 2 good games tonight coming up.
All right. A huge opportunity at hand for the Maple Leafs going into the third period. Down 1-0 on home ice with the opportunity to close it out. Let's see if they can do it. Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph will have the call of the third period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on 680 News Radio Toronto. And
Soak up spring love vibes with an all-new mix from The Flow.
Bring the beat in.
Now on the SiriusXM app. Featuring 2000s R&B hits from the heart by Ashanti, Usher, and Beyonce. Plus smooth 2010s grooves from Frank Ocean, Janelle Monáe, and more. It's the perfect soundtrack for flings, feels, and everything in between. Just search Spring Love in the SiriusXM app.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big controversy going on. So they had to do something about it. And they did do something about it. Well, now they're not in the playoffs. You know what? They're not even really close anymore. This is the most absurd season falling apart. The most disappointing team this season of the 32 are the Vancouver Canucks.
NHL Morning Skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellar. Weekdays 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
General manager of the Winnipeg Jets, Kevin Chabot. What would finishing first overall mean to the organization, Kevin?
Well, I think anytime that you can finish in an area where you're getting recognized, it's special. But again, the important thing for us is process. Is when we buy into playing the way we need to play, then we feel comfortable that we'll win more games than not, and then you let the chips fall where they may.
The Power Play weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Liverpool are your 2025 Premier League champions, and no one covered their journey like SiriusXM FC.
This year, they've been absolutely untouchable.
This team was the epitome of a team. From every big moment
Liverpool with a chance, left-footed, it's in! The most dramatic end to this game!
to every major storyline.
Incredible, especially to win it in Anfield is incredible.
No one brings you closer to the English Premier League than SiriusXM FC. Channel 157 in the car and streaming anytime on the SiriusXM app. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs trail 1-0, heading to the third period of play here at Scotiabank Arena on a goal by Thomas Chabot. They're ready at center ice. Bissell has them squared off, and the puck is dropped. We're underway. Leafs to the right, Senators to the left. Ottawa with the puck in their own zone, got it ahead, and it's deflected into the Toronto bench. And out of play, and a face-off will come in the neutral zone as a result.
It should be noted early here in the third period, Joe, that Linus Ullmark has had a shutout with Ottawa against the Leafs this season.
I did not know that.
That was back on November the 12th. 3-0 win.
A shutout.
3-0 win for the Senators. Ullmark was first star, although Anthony Stolarz had 41 shots on the night. 3-0 Ottawa win.
Fed down into the Ottawa zone, into the far corner it goes. Craig trying to play it around back of the net. Lawton gets a hit in on the boards, and the puck comes to center ice. And Shane Pinto will get it in over the line, but the Leafs have it there. Riley up on the wing for Lorenz. Lorenz had it knocked off his stick. Back comes Perron. Perron with a shot going wide, but caught by goaltender Anthony Stolarz, and a face-off coming in the Toronto zone.
Ottawa's been pretty good at protecting leads into the third period this year. 36 times they took a lead into the third. 33 wins, 2 losses, 1 overtime loss. Leafs, on the other hand, 9 wins, 20 losses, 2 overtime losses, and the 31 times they've trailed after 2 periods. So the Leafs have had some success coming back in the third.
Austin Matthews, who leads the Leafs with 3 shots on goal, won the face-off. One handed out at center ice, but Nyes couldn't come up with it. Zub plays it ahead for Stützle, who's going to ring the boards with it to the near side for Giroux. Giroux's pass intercepted. Then Nyes, a lead pass intended for Marner, knocked it down. The puck comes in front. Oh, what a save made by Stolarz. Better circle that one. Marner looked like he was going to get a breakaway pass, but Nyes got his hand in the way, thinking it was coming to him. Back into the offensive zone. Leafs keep it in with a shot by Nyes that is scooped up off the ice by Ullmark. Best save of the game for Anthony Stolarz right there.
Yeah, after Nyes had knocked it down, Ottawa controls it, keeps it in, and the pass goes from Stolarz right to the left, and Stützle out to Tkachuk. Right in the middle of the slot between the hash marks. And Stolarz has to kick out the left pad to keep the Leafs in this.
Tavares line, and John's waved out. Domi playing on the right wing here as the puck comes back to the blue line. Benoit keeps it into the far side. Tavares one-handing it along the boards, trying to kick it with his skate. It comes to the blue line and pushed out at center ice. Oliver Ekman-Larsson blocked that, and he has it now up on the left wing for Domi. Domi launches it in, and Tavares is into the forecheck. Got his man up against the boards, but Pinto stole it and then lost it. Domi couldn't get it in front. Cleared to the line. Kept alive there by Brandon Carlo as it comes to center. Leafs have to wait for teammates to get onside. And they're changing now as Riley starts out of his own zone. Morgan Riley had to go off an Ottawa player, and it's gone high into the screen out of play. So a face-off is going to come in the center ice area.
And as you'd expect, Craig Berube decides he's got to make some changes. So Domi goes back up to play with Tavares and Nylander, which drops Pontus Holmberg down to play with McMahon and Max Pacioretty. That's certainly a big, heavy line, isn't it? The third line.
McMahon taking the face-off at the red line, and the draw one, and the Leafs shoot it in. Round on the boards to the far side for Tyler Clevin. He was engaged as the puck goes back of the net. Good hit there to knock his man down by Pacioretty. Pacioretty hoping for a loose puck to come away with it. Still works on the near boards. McCabe waiting patiently, is able to keep it alive, but the Sens get it out and down the ice. And an icing call will come here against Ottawa. Leafs continue to press and get decent opportunity, at least in time of possession in the offensive zone, but not getting the clear-cut scoring chance.
No, give Ottawa credit. They're taking away the middle of the ice, but how many times have we talked about this during the playoffs? Scoring chances, time, space, hard to come by in the playoffs, and you got to find a way to do it.
Senators win this face-off, and they send it high out and down the ice again. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson gets back in time to deny icing. Lead pass at center. Knies couldn't get to it. Senators with a left wing feed. Nicely knocked down there by Tkachuk. Played down into the corner in the Toronto zone. Tkachuk on the far side. Matthews trying to pry it free. Stützle is in there as well. The puck does come free, and it is Marner chipping it off the official's leg, but it is corralled now by Ottawa. Zoom to the left wing side for Tkachuk. Long shot off the shoulder. Bouncing rebound into the slot area. Here's Giroux playing it around back in the net for Tkachuk, who centers, but right onto the stick of Marner, who gets it freed up, and Knies gets it to center ice. But no further. Sens have it again back in their own zone. And the crowd starting to rev things up here as well. On the right wing side, shot by Zetterlund down into the Toronto zone. Off the boards, and is controlled by Lorenz, who had a glorious chance in that second period. Up on the left wing for McCabe. Back it goes to Scotty Lawton with a shot off a leg. Back to McCabe, a shot. That was knocked away in front of the net by Nick Cousins. Puck comes back on the boards. Here's McCabe centering to the right wing side for Tanev. Off a glove, there's a rebound. Knocked to the side of the goal. It goes around back of the net. Sens send it high to center ice. Settles down, but onto the stick of a Maple Leaf. Tanev to his defense partner as the Leafs and the Sens are changing. McCabe waits patiently. Off the boards it comes to Domi. Tried to get it ahead for Tavares. That didn't work. Nylander will pressure Chabot. Got a hit in there, but the puck comes free. Stolen back by the Leafs. Domi overskated it, but it looked like he might get a decent scoring chance to shoot. It's cleared back into the Toronto zone. Benoit takes his man Amadio to the bench with the boards, and a shot rolls in on a backhand, a weak backhand that Stolarz has no problems with. Just that little wee bit. You talk about time and space. Max Domi, just a little more time and a little more space, he gets a great scoring chance.
Well, a lot of that is, right, you got to plow through it. You got to create it on your own. And a lot of times, we saw, the Leafs in the power play in game one. Throw it to the net. Get bodies there. And you don't have to go through the last two Ottawa goals to find a better example than that.
Face off in the circle to the left of Stolarz. 1-0 Ottawa. The goal coming in the second period. Leafs get it up on the wing, and McMahon will launch it on a high note in over the line for Pacioretty. Couldn't get it in front, but clears it around to the far wing. Oliver Ekman-Larsson there. And that goes off a stick and up into the screen and out of play. And the face-off will come in the circle to the left of the Ottawa goalkeeper.
I mean, really, when you look at this entire series show, there have been more ugly goals than nice ones. I mean, we're talking going in off defenseman skates in front of the net. Both teams have been able to do that. Point shots that have gone through screens. From Simon Benoit's overtime winner.
Tavares lost this face-off. Sanderson plays it off a stick at center. Senators get it in across the line with Ridley Gregg trying to go wide on Carlo. Carlo took him down. Now Tavares back of the net. Riley unable to get to it as the Sens get it in front of the net off a skate. Good play by Morgan Riley to block it, and then Carlo can't get it out. The shot from a sharp angle goes high and wide of the goal. To the point, Artem Zub. Back in along the boards for Gregg. A shot in traffic wide. Sanderson keeps it in on the far boards. Around the wall, it'll come to the near side, and Max Domi trying to get there. Couldn't chop it out. Has it up against the wall. Near boards, trying to pry it free from a scrum. It goes free to Sanderson on the left wing. Sanderson walks the line. On his backhand now. Plays it around back of the net. Brandon Carlo able to out-muscle Tkachuk for the puck and got it free, and Domi is able to bank it out at center. Sens trying to get a change. Cleared off his stick and out of play. Face-off coming in the neutral zone. But we are almost 6 minutes into the third period with just a 1 goal on the board, and the Sens lead it 1-0.
The Leafs just one shot on goal here so far in the third period. They were held to 6 in the second. We talked about how great the Leafs have been in shutting the Ottawa Senators offense down, especially over the last 2 periods, but Ottawa's put on a pretty good clinic, and the Leafs haven't had an answer for it.
Tim Stützle has been given an additional assist on the goal, so it is Chabot from Tkachuk and Stützle. So their big guns have them on the board. Long shoot in and a huge rebound off of Ullmark, but taken to safety by the Sens. Now running out of real estate in the near corner. Cut off there and a centering pass. Looking for Scotty Lawton, and it was just wide of him. McCabe a shot. Blockered into the corner nicely there by Ullmark. Lorenz against the boards for Lawton, and now Yarncrook plays into the far corner. Played off the boards by Montepallo to center ice. Leafs get it right back in on the left wing. Lorenz down the left wing boards. Trying to barge into the corner. Played it into the goal crease. Here's the shot right on! And it's knocked away into the corner as Marner was there. Marner working back towards the blue line, but it comes out into neutral ice.
Pretty good evidence of a hook there.
Yes. And then Marner is taken down by the player who was without the stick, and a penalty's going to come here to Ottawa.
Boy, this is not a smart play. You dodge one where you lose your stick into the equipment of Marner, let it go, and then go after him without a stick and throw him down. And it's going to be a holding penalty, and the Leafs had better take advantage of Ridley Gregg's mistake here with 13:02 to go in the third.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio and the Maple.
Hey, do you ever wonder how life might look if you'd saved a little more? Well, April is Financial Literacy Month, and Planned to AT is here to help. We're a nonprofit helping young people improve their futures through financial wellness education. Our fun, simple workshops help students build healthy money habits and get them ready.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! I'm talking to you! Thanks for hanging out with us. This is TSI Mike, and now that we've got your attention, we're bringing you every single game of the NBA and NHL playoffs while supporting SickKids Hospital in Toronto through our Playoff Pulse campaign. Let's grow our global community. Hit that subscribe button, turn on that bell, and join the action.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Joe Bowen here, voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Playoff Pulse on Toronto Sports Insider is all about playoff thrills and making a difference, with 100% of Leaf playoff stream revenue going directly to SickKids for their life-saving treatments and research. We're aiming for 100,000 insiders to boost our impact. So subscribe now and be a part of this incredible movement. Holy Mackinac! Let's show SickKids Hospital we're here for them. Join us today.
Hey you, yeah you, Easton Cowan, Leafs prospect here. I'm loving these Playoff Pulse live hangouts. Subscribe and turn on the bell to catch every game. Keep the chat buzzing and let's cheer for SickKids together. See you in the chat.
Third power play of the game for the Maple Leafs. Tavares to take the face-off with Giroux. scrummed, but the Senators control it, and Sanderson will bank it off the boards out and down the ice. Marner goes back. He starts out with it. Looks behind to see where Willie is, who takes the pass from Nyes, who circles back even more. Now Nylander gathering speed through the neutral zone to find Matthews to Nyes. Nyes in over the line, dropping it back for Marner. Into the half boards for Willie on the near side. Nylander into the slot, gives it back to Tavares. Tavares looking down low, goes to Nylander. Shot stopped on the short side by Ullmark. Nylander against the boards with Nyes. Back of the net, Tavares tried to center. He had Matthews there, but it was blocked. Matthew back to the point to Marner. Marner to Tavares. Tavares on the far half boards. That's not where you want him. Marner gets it into the corner for Matthews. A shot! And that was off the mark, and it is caromed out and down the ice.
Boy, I think, looking for Nyes.
Off the boards for Matthews, left wing corner. Stops in over the line and gets it back to Nylander. Nylander down the left wing boards, top of the circle with a shot that went off a leg. Nyes against the boards, trying to control, but in tight quarters. Centering pass for Marner's intercepted, though. And Gaudette starts away, and hustling into the attack is Cousins. Cousins in, scores! Austin Matthews coughs the puck up. And the second shorthanded goal of the series is scored by Dylan Cousins. It's 2-0 Ottawa.
Matthews line on for the first goal in the second period, and the big boys are on for the second one. Back-to-back games, shorthanded goals. Moments earlier, Matthew Nyes fails to redirect it, and if the Leafs don't find a way, Joe, to come back and close this series out, you do not have to be a rocket scientist to figure out what the headlines are going to be tomorrow morning.
26 seconds left in the power play. And across the line it goes for Domi. Centering pass goes to Bobby McMahon. McMahon into the corner, off a skate, gets it back again. McMahon to the left wing side for Domi. Domi across ice pass, no shot yet. Back to Riley. Riley to Domi. Domi down low, deflected there by Pacioretty, but stopped on the short side. Pacioretty gets it again. McMahon a shot, and that went off a stick and comes all the way to center ice. Domi is offside as he takes a pass on the left wing. 10:56 to go in the second period, and the 5 forwards. It's a wonderful thought, but
yeah, first 3 games it was great.
But here's the other thing. The giveaway was made, but Cousins came from a long way back
to
get into the 2-on-1.
Willie Nylander was the closest coming back to Cousins.
And then you've got Marner playing defense, and that is what caused the issue. So now the Leafs have a bigger hill to climb. Off the boards to center for Lorenz, to Scott Laughton. Shot deflects wide. Goaltender Linus Ullmark throwing a shutout at the Maple Leafs. Here, the backhand was stopped by Ullmark's left pad. Puck back to the goal. Laughton back to the point again. It comes to the near side for McCabe. Wrist shot is gloved by Ullmark as Laughton came across in front, and now they get tangled up in the near corner. Laughton and one of the Senators. And nothing more to develop, I don't believe. And a face-off will come in the Ottawa zone as a result.
And hey, Ottawa, you can see it. They're starting to get some swagger as this series has gone on. They come out, survive the first period. I think that was key for Ottawa. Coming in this game, we're outshot 12-4 in the first period. Leafs were better, but Ottawa still did not give up a whole lot clear-cut. And then they get the goal in the second period, a harmless-looking wrist shot that finds its way through a maze. But they have defended well, and the Leafs have not had an answer.
Cousins from Gaudette is the shorthanded goal. Face off to the left in the Ottawa zone. Scrummed by Tavares. Controlled by the Leafs. Tavares to the point. Cousins. A shot there by Carlo went wide of the net as the puck comes back up along the boards. Carlo keeps it in momentarily, but it is launched high into neutral ice. Settled down by Ridley Gregg, and he'll play it in deep into the Toronto end. In the near corner, it's sent around the boards, but Nylander traps it there. Willie gets it up on the left wing for Tavares. Cross the line and sent in around back of the net. Cut off there by Sanderson. Sanderson gives the puck away as it comes to the line. Just kept in by the Leafs. Long shot in front. That deflected off a body and comes to center ice. Leafs trying to get onside here to allow Benoit to the line, but he doesn't get in cleanly. Senators back at center ice and are going to launch it high into the Toronto zone. Stolarz couldn't go out and play it. Stützle provides forechecking pressure, and the Leafs get it up on the wing, and Matthews up ahead for Nyes. Nyes sends it into the left wing corner. Goes in there, got it back at the net. Nyes bullying his way to try and center, but Marner had it knocked away before it reached him. And the Senators come back at center ice. In across the line on the wing, a shot. Stolarz the save. Tkachuk crashes into Stolarz behind him and is getting the business here from Oliver Ekman-Larsson. No penalty. Back into the offensive zone for Toronto. And it's cleared out at center, and Tkachuk coming late after that episode. Ran out of gas, I guess, but couldn't make a rush with it. Here's Domi to the line and in. Max gives it off on the right wing side for Tanev. Back into the slot and a shot. Good pad save made there by Ullmark, and he's been the difference. He has been solid. 23 shots by Toronto. 2-0 Ottawa. Domi spun around on the boards, able to get it back. Max gets it back to the point to Morgan Rielly. Rielly sent a shot to the front of the net, but it was blocked. And now Zetterlund will get it out and down the ice, but not enough for icing. McCabe run to the boards on the near corner. Couldn't come out with it. Gaudette gets it around to the far point. Chabot to the near side to Zoo. Zoo sending it back in along the boards. Leaf fans trying to get some energy in the building. Puck along the wall. Chipped up on the wing, but Zub is able to keep it in. 7.5 minutes to go. Leafs need a pair. Down 2-0. Rielly back of the net. Bank pass through center. Trying to find Lawton. That didn't connect. Carlo was stripped of the puck, but it comes free to Lawton. Lawton looks up ice, gets it to Matthews. Left wing side, Rielly. Rielly will shoot it in. Ullmark out of the net to leave it for the defense. Good hit by Matthews, but the puck comes to center. Shot right back in again by Brandon Carlo. Ullmark will leave it there. The Leafs are changing. 6:47 to play in the third. 2-0 Ottawa. Senators back of their own goal. Passing into neutral ice. Tkachuk got it up on the wing, and Giroux sends it down into the Toronto end. Benoit on the wing for Tavares. Brought in over the line by Yarncrook. Back to the point, a shot. And that whistled wide off Brandon Carlo's stick. Now Nylander trying to roll it in front, and the glove of Ullmark is down to cover up on that. More shoving at the side of the goal.
Another horrid stat when we look at, this group struggling to put away series. And the 12 games, Joe, now that this group has had to try to put away a series, close out a series in a game, the power play, including tonight, 0 for 30. 0 for 30. And there were some one-goal losses.
Yes, there are. Well,
and that's why you can't afford the shorthanded goal is inexcusable.
It is 2-0 Ottawa, and you're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hi, Arash Madani here. At Honda, they built...
Hey, sports fans. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here on Toronto Sports Insider during the Playoff Pulse. Our mission is simple, bringing sports fans together to hang out, cheer, and change the world one insider at a time, while supporting SickKids Hospital in Toronto every single game.
Cheers, insiders and sports fans from around the world. The Playoff Pulse campaign on Toronto Sports Insider is uniting fans worldwide through the thrill of NHL and NBA playoffs. Every game, every fan, every moment counts. The link is pinned in the chat and in the description. Check out our campaign page. Donate if you can, or share it with friends. Holy Mackinac! Every click helps sick kids heal the future. Just by being here, you have already made an impact. Now, chat it up, keep it classy, and let's keep changing the world one insider at a time.
Subaru is the multi-tool that masters every unpredictable weather condition. Visit your local Subaru dealer for great lease and finance options.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs playoff hockey.
Trevor has a breakaway. Kachuk is in a goal. Stopped by Stolarz.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Face off in the Ottawa zone to the right of Linus Ullmark. The Leafs trail 2-0. And 6 minutes and 16 seconds remain in the third period. The draw scrum, but Ottawa controls. Swept around the boards and out and down the ice, and another icing will come. And another face-off will come in the Ottawa zone. Senators have done a marvelous job protecting a 1-0 lead that Thomas Chabot provided in the second period. And the Leaf power play has exploded in their faces with a shorthanded goal from Cousins set up by Gaudette. On a giveaway by Austin Matthews in the offensive end. Ekman-Larsson sends it into the corner. Couldn't come up with it, and the Senators send it through center, but it's a high stick making contact. And there's a whistle to stop play. Face off outside the Ottawa blue line.
There just hasn't been a push by the Leafs here in the third, right? Where they've had Ottawa back on their heels and on the ropes, and they're coming in waves.
Draw one by Ottawa.
They've just been able to snuff out any kind of puck possession time the Leafs have had in the Ottawa zone.
Zub sends it into the Toronto end. Puck along the boards around back of the net for Benoit. Benoit, a bank pass ahead for Calle Yarncrook, who goes to the far side for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Pass in across the line for Tavares into the slot. Tavares shot blocked. Rebound cleared by Ottawa, but it won't be enough for icing. Leafs are changing. 5:29 remain. Jake McCabe. A pass off Matthews, garnered there by the skate to a stick and sent into the zone. Chabot overskated at Marner. Centers! Comes in front for Matthews. He hit the goal post. He had an empty net and hit the post. Puck goes out at center ice. Oh my, what a chance that was. Ullmark was down, and the puck rattles off the iron. Sent in by McCabe. He's going to go in there after it. Played in along the boards, but it is Matthews who got to it, but it is shot high to center ice, forcing Morgan Rielly back. Wow. Closest the Leafs have come to scoring a goal. Matthews in across the line. Sends it back to the point to Rielly. Rielly to Marner. Marner with a wrist shot in traffic. It's wide. There's a juicy rebound. No one could get to it. And it is brought to center ice now by David Perron and sent into the Toronto zone. Cleared on the boards and quickly up for Domi. Domi for Bobby McMahon. McMahon trying to get through, but the Sens defense breaks it up. 4 minutes and 5 seconds remain in the third. A hit by McMahon paced Batherson to the end boards. Puck at center ice. Here the Sens in over the line with a shot. That went wide, and Domi has to puck in his own end.
When does Stolarz go?
Got to be close. Brought in now by the Leafs. Domi on the near boards, in along the wall for the defenseman McCabe. Back for Domi, back of the net for Bobby McMahon, who failed to control the puck. Sanderson gets it to the line, but not out. McCabe down low, and McMahon coming out of the corner had the puck go right by him, that if he handles it, another stride as he's right in front of the goal. Tanev back in the Toronto end. Long lead pass, deflects. Stolarz looking at the bench. Played in back of the net for Nyes. Nyes trying to jam it in on the short side. It's in behind, a wraparound attempt. That went wide. Nylander after the disc. Nylander trying to center, and it hits a leg. And it's cleared out and down the ice, and now a foot race. The net is empty. Back behind the goal is Giroux. Centering pass, scores!
The Leafs have a chance to clear it to the front of the net and put it off a skate. Senators clear the other way, and this one's going to Game 6 in Ottawa on Thursday. Pushed by the Leafs, but little too late. As I believe it's Stützle, Joe, the last one that is able to put it in.
Well, the goal post.
Yeah, but then even right after that.
Yeah, the jam play at the side of the goal. Nyes trying to jam it.
Bobby McMahon had an opportunity earlier. Puck goes under his stick. And I know we've often said the same thing over and over again this season. This year, they're different. But at this exact moment, all you can say back is not yet.
Second of the series for Stützle. Empty net goal with 2:51. I think the Leafs have called timeout. But it's going to be too little, too late. And this series is headed back to Ottawa.
And again, the inability to score goals.
Yes, and of all of the problems that you thought they would have, that's not one of them. And yet, it has risen again and again and again.
Key moments. They have not been able to come up with the key plays to put a series away, and I would imagine the Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa is going to be as loud as it has ever been.
I would think so, and rightly so. Now another long shot at an empty net has gone wide. 2.5 minutes to play. And the face-off will be in the Ottawa zone to the right of goaltender Linus Ullmark, who has fired a shutout at the Maple Leafs and been full marks, handling 27 shots, 18 directed at the Toronto net by the Senators. But the biggest goal was the shorthanded tally.
Yeah.
That was the killer. Matthews giveaway off a pass. The Leafs were never able to get to it. 2-on-1 break, Cousins and Gaudette. And they finish with a shorthanded goal that pushed the lead to 2-0. Stützle has scored into an empty net. And that's the difference in the hockey game.
Like we said, we're going to get the ice crew out here with 2:10 to go. But Matthews line, I mean, it's a point shot, but they're on the ice. First 5-on-5 goal against. And then the big boys on the ice for the shorthanded goal. And that's going to be the theme for the next 2 days.
And the narrative is going to get pumped up again. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on 680 News Radio on the Maple.
Dance your way into the Kiki Lounge. Sing your heart out to the classics. Or discover a new obsession. All handpicked by me, Andy Cohen, on my very own music channel. Whether I'm chilling or turning up, the Kiki Lounge has connected devices.
In case you missed it on NHL Network Radio.
Butch Navitz for the deflection. They shoot. They score! Jimmy Snuggerud. His first as a Blue. 3-0 St. Louis. It's a power play goal.
Whew, this is rough tonight. It is a rough night in Toronto sports this evening. The Blue Jays beatdown is finally over at the hands of the Boston Red Sox and our Maple Leafs now 3-0. You know, I swear I have seen the graphic across the bottom of the TV screen at least 50 times throughout the broadcast of the game, saying, oh, the Maple Leafs are 1-12 in elimination games, all this. Great. I'm telling you, if I'm Berube, I'm telling these boys, leave the phones at the door. Y'all can stay at a hotel. Don't even pay attention to no TVs in the rooms. Keep them focused on the prize, man. It's going to be crazy. But we've got to get back to the hockey. Going down to Ottawa again. Up to Ottawa again. It's going to be crazy Thursday night. We'll be here. All right, back to the Leafs. Finish this off.
Face off and play it around the boards, cut off by Matthews. Matthews on the far side, works it back with a wrist shot that was blocked. Banked out at center ice by Ottawa, forcing Marner back to retrieve the puck. Under 2 minutes to play in the third. Up ahead for Tavares. Shot in and around the boards to the near side. Cleared by Zub, back of the net, out and down the ice again. Icing will be called against Ottawa, and it'll come back into the Ottawa zone. Leafs are going to make a change.
I know the Leafs managed to come back and tie it, send it to overtime in Game 4. Ottawa obviously more comfortable playing with the lead. Well, who is it? Especially in the playoffs.
Holmberg scrummed the draw. It comes back. Grabbed off by the Senators and pushed to center ice, but a pass was blocked. And it is Oliver Ekman-Larsson getting it ahead for Pontus Holmberg. Up on the right wing side and shot into the Ottawa zone. Minute 25 to go. Holmark punching it around the boards. It's blocked there, and Bobby McMahon centers off a stick, and it comes all the way out at center ice. Oliver Ekman-Larsson back. Got it ahead. Brought on the left wing, and Pacioretty sends a long shoot in, and it is gloved by Holmark. And that will bring about a face-off with 1:08 to go in the Ottawa zone. Coming in the circle to his right.
There certainly hasn't been anything on Anthony Stolarz. Screenshot on the first one, 2-on-0 on the short-handed goal. Would there be any scenario would you see saying Joseph Woll goes in, or does that look like a panic move?
No, that's a panic move. On the wing, Riley's shot, that deflected wide. Marner on the right point keeps it in with less than a minute to go in the third period. Centering pass blocked. Cleared to the line, not out. Senators work it back in their own zone with Stützle. He'll get it out at center. Tkachuk alone with an empty net and shoots it into the goal. So a close game is going to get the blowout portion here with a couple of empty netters. And a 4-0 Ottawa lead. And why don't we do the 3 stars? Brought to you by Desjardins Insurance. Get insurance. It's really big on care at Desjardins.com/care today.
Well, it's a couple of points on empty net goals, but Brady Tkachuk I will give. Star number 3. He'll end up with a goal and 3 points on the night. Star number 2. Where are we going to go with Tim Stützle? With a goal and 3 points on the night. Star number 1, Linus Ullmark, 26 saves to this point. Looks like he's going to be good for the shutout, his second one of the season, going back to the regular season for Linus Ullmark.
Played
against Toronto in this
Toronto,
building.
yes. Yeah. Leafs will send it in. So an invitation to join us on Thursday night. The Leafs will tangle with the Ottawa Senators at the Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa in game number 6. Lawton having a word with Gaudette. Nothing more developing there. 28.3 seconds to go here in the period.
How important do you think the first goal is going to be on Thursday?
Yarncrook taking the face-off to finish things off. The draw goes around back of the Ottawa goal. And they'll flip it to the line and knock it out and down into Leaf territory. And another icing with 18 seconds to go in the third period.
So it's funny how, you go through the first 3 games and all the talk was about Linus Ullmark. He couldn't win in the playoffs, and look what his numbers and how many he's lost in a row. Boy, 2 games could sure flip the script.
Oh, he's been very good the last couple of games, absolutely. Yep. Leafs win the face-off, and a shot goes over top of the Ottawa goal. A dozen seconds left in the game. Played out at center and down, rolling towards the Leaf goal. Now we're going to have a little more going here. Benoit is up against the boards here with, and down on the ice, Perron and Yarncrooked there. I'm not sure who the Ottawa player is.
Might be Clevin, the defenseman. No, it's 33, not 43. So it's Vandapalo.
Yeah. And he is back up on his skates. And was that Lawton or Benoit?
Well, it was Benoit that got.
It was too, yep. Oh, Lawton's back here, so further back was it Brendan Carlo? I think it was Brendan Carlo, it was Carlo, number 25, down along the boards. Couldn't see a face, just kind of glimpsed at a tube that went down, but.
Well, I will suggest that the Leafs are going to have to play the best game of the series on Thursday, if there's any chance of ending it. It's not exactly playing to a sold-out crowd.
No, a lot of people trying to catch the trains, I think. So the face-off will be in the center ice area. 7.5 seconds to go in the third period. And they'll play 4-on-4 just to finish this game off. And the draw controlled by the Leafs. Senators play it back into their own end, and that will do it. So the Leafs are forced into a 6th game in Ottawa on Thursday night. We'll have that action for you. We thank you for listening to us this evening. 680 News Radio will now return to news coverage. For Leaf post-game coverage, you can continue streaming on sportsnet.ca, the Sportsnet app, and on the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name.
Don't miss a moment of baseball season with MLB Network Radio, including daily interviews with the decision makers from across the league on SiriusXM Channel 89.
This is Terry Francona.
This is Rocco Baldelli.
This is Torey Lavillo. This is Ron Washington.
It's Managers at the Mic on MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM 89. And if you miss any of our Manager at the Mic interviews throughout the week, you can find them on the SiriusXM app. Search MLB.
NHL Morning Skate.
December 15th, Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs. And this is when they had that big...
Oh, of course, that's right in front of my face. There we go. Put that. There we go. All right, Leafs fans, that was ugly. That was very ugly. 4-0 the final after a couple empty netters. There you go. Like Don Donaldson said, we're up 3-2. We're still up 3-2 in the series. One game. That's all it takes from this point forward. You just have to reset and go play a hell of a game. Like Joe Bowen said, play the best game of the series in Ottawa Thursday night. And we'll be here to cheer them on and have a good time. All right, if you guys want to hang out in the basketball game, it's the fourth quarter of the Detroit Pistons and New York Knicks game. I just sent the link through the chat. Go check that out. That's my soccer channel as well. And they're helping us broadcast the Playoff Pulse campaign games. So appreciate all of you guys hanging out with us through all of these streams, and we'll be back Thursday. But of course, we're all over the place right now with all these different games. But we'll let the post-game run as long as it will run. I don't know with the 680 News business how long it will actually stay up. If not, we will send you over to one of these games, either this one or let's see, what's the other game that's over on Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central is the Minnesota Wild and the Vegas Golden Knights. There you go. Right up there. That link is coming to you in the chat shortly. And then, of course, the Edmonton Oilers, representing Canada, in Game 5 against the LA Kings down at Crypto.com Arena. We'll be live for that one as well. Right there, there's already 29 people waiting for that one. That starts up in 9 minutes' time. Thanks for hanging out with us here in Toronto Sports Insider. Thank you for helping us raise money for SickKids Hospital in Toronto. An amazing super chat tonight. Unbelievable $50 super chat. I am just unbelievably, that is huge, so huge, and that is 100% to SickKids because it's a Leafs stream, and everything from the Leafs stream goes directly to SickKids Hospital in Toronto because that's what the Playoff Pulse is all about. It's about getting a bunch of people together, watching sports from all over the world, hanging out together, keeping it classy, and raising money to benefit that amazing hospital. I'll let that video run. If there's no post-game, then send you over to one of these other streams, and we'll see you over there. Cheers, everybody. Still haven't gotten that drink yet. Maybe it was a 2-0 loss. I don't have to drive anymore. (2-0), 4-0. 4-0 loss. Good night, Brian. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you real soon.
Out angst. Thursday, like nervous wreck, right?
Yeah.
And then Friday could potentially be like the biggest exhale ever or nightmare. Absolute nightmare.
It's going to be a
compounding angst.
It's going to be a content-filled next 2 days. How about that? Whether it's good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah. When Simone Benoit's overtime goal went in, it felt like there's no way they could be in this position now, but that was a lifeless effort. Mm-hmm. Questions about, the same questions from previous seasons. Superstars not showing up. Back checking not there. Physicality not there.
Can't score on the power play. Can't score in general.
You can go down the list. Every single thing you could potentially be worried about or hearken back to arrived tonight.
It's like the opposite of how you felt game 1, where everything was checked. Core 4 scored. Boxes were checked because they scored on the power play. They came out hungry. They had passion. Tonight was a completely different look, and that is unsettling. Let's take a look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca.
The scoring has slowed down in Raleigh. It is still 4-4. Devils and Hurricanes. Devils trying to prolong their season. They are down 3-1 in their series, but in this game 5. So credit to them. Wild and Golden Knights just getting underway, just a couple minutes into the first period, and still to come tonight. The harmonicas are being warmed up. Do you warm up a harmonica?
Yeah, probably.
I'm not really sure, but the Kings will host the Oilers, and the harmonicas will do the anthems ahead of a crucial Game 5 in the Pacific Division.
Okay, I'm going to say something that's also unsettling. Our next Sportsnet 590, the Fan Molson Leafs hockey broadcast would be Game 7. It would be Saturday night. Maybe we hear you then, and maybe we don't. Only time will tell. Well, this is going to be a good one. Leafs Talk with JD Bunkus, Justin Bourne, and Sam McKee is next. Thanks for listening to Sportsnet 590, the Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Right now, amongst the group, amongst Leafs Nation, the Leafs have now turned a 3-0 series lead into a 3-2 lead, getting back on a plane to Ottawa. One of the most pathetic performances, in my opinion, of this core. Sammy, let's start with you.
Even for these guys, boys.
Yeah.
Even for these guys.
Even for them.
Tonight was pretty remarkable.
Gutless.
It just can't look like that. You can lose this game, fellas. And there's a way that you can lose this game where all of us, all of Leafs Nation, everyone around the team doesn't feel like a piece of crap. There's a way to lose this game. Mm-hmm. But let me tell you, fellas, that was not the way. The way that game looked, and there's been all the different talk, and as soon as it gets to the nut crunching time, it's the same. It reverts. It looks similar for the big boys. And tonight, buddy, that was dark. Dark.
I think like we're approaching a time where like they're like a case study. They need an exorcist or something. I just can't remember athletes as talented. We've seen it forever, as gifted at what they do as they are, so continuously shrink from moments. It's honestly like they didn't grow up playing hockey, like mean, competitive, real hockey. It's like they play an exhibition sport or something. And when it turns into real pond, road, knee hockey, they've never played those type of games for some reason. It's baffling.
I genuinely want to know if like Sportsnet stats, because I've seen this from people like, I saw our buddy Luke Fox posted Leafs are now 1-12 in elimination games after the last one. And it irks me because I saw a few people like from the outside posting about like how Toronto's up 3-1 and this is what their media does, right? Like this is the media reaction. But genuinely, now at 1-13 in elimination games, even for the like most staunch defenders of like, oh, well, year over year or whatever little lame excuse you're clutching onto at this point. Has this ever happened in NHL history before? Like, has there ever been a group of four of players that have been together, four guys, Morgan Riley, Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and William Nylander, that are 1-13 in playoff elimination games? Is it even possible?
What about sports history, bud?
Yeah.
Like not hockey history. Like this is
Norman choked away a few majors, but like that's not this.
This is remarkable futility with chances to eliminate people. Like 1-13.
Mitch Marner has 0 goals in those 14 games we're talking about. He averages 30 a year.
Mm-hmm. It's Austin Matthews now with 2 goals in his last 15 playoff games, by the way.
And 9 points in 14 elimination games. It's really, it's genuinely baffling. And for you guys know that I'm like constantly the guy who's like, they're too good. It's gonna come. It'll, they'll figure it out here as their career goes along. Even if they figure it out at this point, it'll be impossible not to look back at this part of their career and go, I don't know. I've never seen anyone take that long to untangle the knot.
No, it's incredible. It really is.
You know what's the coaching aspect of this, where they're so good defensively. Tonight was, again, so good defensively. Like they just gave up absolutely nothing. They give up 1 goal, a seeing eye shot from the point where Matthews and Marner are on the ice, by the way, where Austin Matthews gets cleaned out in the draw after, and then screens his own goalie after missing a wide open net on a 2-on-1.
Yeah, I want to get to
that. But like they give up a shorthanded goal again off of a turnover from Austin Matthews, but like they gave up nothing. They did the defense. They were great defensively. Like the D-corps again stood tall, limited everything, just did their part. And this team is screaming. Can you imagine what Chris Tanev is thinking? What Carlo's been on the other side of this how many times? Yeah. And he's like, guys, come on. Like, geez. Like he's chirped these guys for this exact thing how many different times? Right? It's just go ahead, bud.
Well, I was just going to say that to this point, I was thinking about it again during the game. Tanev and McCabe were awesome, right? Like they really were. Yeah, Tanev made a bunch of brilliant plays. And I thought Chris Tanev and Jake McCabe are this team's identity players.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a problem. That's not supposed to be what this team is. They're supposed to be additive. They're not supposed to be the identity. The identity are supposed to be 16, 34, and 88. And I really want to clamp down on 34 in particular, because I don't think any of those three had a good night tonight by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think Marner had a moment in the game where I really noticed him until he got to the net and came close with a shot in the second period. But Austin Matthews just laid down one of the all-time greatest chokes for an organization that we just talked about, is now fully famous for choking. He was dreadful tonight. Like, he misses a wide open net. And Sammy, you said it. goes down, gets cleaned out in a draw, and then stands right in front of his goaltender and misses a puck, goes into the back of the net. Purely him that causes the screen. What does he do on the power play? He turns the puck over. What happens when he gets a wide open net with a chance down 2-1 with still 5 minutes left in the game? He rings the post. Like, Matthews was invisible tonight. He wasn't invisible tonight. You wish he was invisible tonight. You would have killed for Austin Matthews to just be invisible tonight. But unfortunately, he was visible and he broke this team's back. It was horrific for him. And for a guy, Borny, that you pointed out today, mentioned how he wanted to hear the crowd get even louder than before, to show up and lay that kind of an egg. I cannot imagine, like, what? Can you strip a guy of a captaincy a year after you stripped a guy of a captaincy? Because if he drops down 2 more of those performances, like, I just don't even know.
Yeah. Go ahead, Borny.
Yeah, it's tough to put into words what we're witnessing here. I try to vacillate between like the big picture stuff and where the series is at, but you can't separate all that without just evaluating tonight's performance. And it reminded me of Game 7 against Montreal, where they lose 5-6 in overtime. In Game 7, it was like the game never started for them. Like, it just, I keep thinking about watching Florida or watching Tampa or watching Edmonton or watching these teams when things get desperate. And, for some reason I get stuck on the analysis of playing 21 with someone in the backyard and they're making every free throw and you throw it off the line to throw them off. You got to fall on a goalie. You got to punch someone in the face. So you got to create some energy. If you can't get to the areas with the puck, get to the areas without the puck and let someone shoot the puck in from there. And if not, have a battle in front. Like, you have to find a way for this to be interesting. You can't just, thank God Benoit did something at the end of the game, because I was thinking, what would Florida do down 4-0 with 20 seconds left? It'd have been a week and a half before that game ended.
Lawton tried to stir it up with Cousins at the end there too, where the ref has to get in between them or whatever. But I think the saddest part about this for me is because, listen, Leafs do, and this is the most positive part of it I can say, the Leafs do have 2 more kicks at this thing, clearly.
Yeah.
Okay. But like, even if they win, right? Like, this was supposed to be different, that they're going to beat the Sens in 4 or 5, and that the Stars were producing through the first few games of the series, and they were looking great, and they were meaningful contributions. But like, so now you're going to beat the Sens in 6, and the Panthers, who started 4 days after you did, maybe done before you're done, trying to beat the Ottawa Senators, who are nowhere near as good as you. You are a much better team. And look at the Panthers could potentially be waiting for you. For me, this game, the game before, and listen, they're close in overtime. I understand all that, whatever. It's just automatically changed my hope for this team.
For this being a cup year.
I thought, like, there was, through those first 3 games, and when they tie it, they go to overtime. I'm like, wow, they actually might get hot here, get a week off, go on a run, get an embattled Florida team where, like, holy, this actually might. And now it's like, okay, you're going to really F around and try to figure out how to beat the Sens. It's going to take you 6 games. You got to go back to that Canadian Tire Center, which will be way louder and way more Sens fans on Thursday night than it was the last time. It changes the ceiling for me, the way these last 2 games have gone. It just does, like, especially tonight. Like, if they're looking like that against the Sens decor and the Sens forward, what are you going to do against the Florida decor and the Florida forwards? Like, it changes the outlook for me. I know that's sad and I know that's dark, but it's just how I feel after tonight.
Well, but the thing is, though, man, is that you're reacting that way, and I think a lot of Leaf fans are, simply because people that believed in them, myself included, once again look stupid tonight. And that's the thing that drives me crazy about this hockey team and what I felt. And I was probably on socials a little bit more tonight than I should have been, just kind of firing some out. I was hot. I was pretty pissed off during this game. And so I was launching, boys. I've been pent up in bed, with lozenges the last 3 days in the darkness, sweating and freezing and just like trying to get back. And then this was not it. But I've seen this take of like, well, the building gets tight when they get tight and the energy matches the players and it impacts them. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, these fans have been through so much. For them to show up to these games and to support this team through all of this complete BS is incredible fortitude for abuse, right? Like, nobody can take abuse like Leaf fans and then just shrug it off and then still do the our year thing. And for Toronto to come home and just have an opportunity to go, hey, we lost in overtime in game 4. Who cares? Step on the throats. Here you go, fans. Reward night, clincher at home, celebration in the streets. To have that turn into existential dread through an entire hockey game and now bleed out into the next 2 games. It's like, this is the stuff that makes me hate these guys and is hard for me to forgive.
How many times have they been shut out over the past 2, 3, 4 years? Almost never. They went 250 games without a shutout, or 230 or something. Like, it almost never happens. To not give the fans a moment tonight, a moment to believe, a moment where you felt they were in it. The game started and it felt bad until it ended.
It's that Sopranos meme, Sammy. The guy that's the best tweet of the season is the guy that posted Chris going back in the car being like, after spending $5,000 at the Leafs game to watch them lose 2-0. And it's just Chris Maltasanti looking like it's after like a heroin binge stuffed in the back of the car with Paulie. That's how you feel.
Looking out the window.
Yeah, it's just, you want them to give them one moment, like you said, but I thought the first period, it gave me huge Keefe Leaf vibes, where if it's game 1 or game 2 or game 3 Allmark, they probably get 2 goals in that period. They had tons of chances. They had that power play where they were buzzing around, and then who took the penalty to end it?
Nice, was it?
Yeah, maybe no. Oh, yeah, he slashed the stick. It was nice. He slashed the stick. But they were buzzing around the net. What they end that period with? 12, 13 shots? I think it was shots with 13.
We just couldn't get one to fall, Sammy. We just couldn't get one to fall.
Exactly.
Well, Stolarz has already trotted out the quote, "We seemed a little snake bitten," quote, which is like, man.
You're new here. You're new.
I know. Why?
You're new.
Don't say it.
Just don't say it. You're new here.
We're not snake bitten. We are consumed by the boa. We are inside the beast.
The serpent. We are the serpent.
We are Pinocchio inside the whale. But it's
you know that thing in, what's that thing in Harry Potter? We are the basilisk, baby. Like this thing's creeping around the window, around the halls. But like, I thought they were pretty good in the first period, where they had their chances and it felt like they were playing well. And they didn't get one. Sens score first and tight. Immediately, every guy's demeanor on that team changes. And I can't help but think they all know the stats for there's new guys that have been brought in here. There's a bunch of new cast of characters. Yeah. But they all know what the top 2 guys' stats are in elimination games. They all know what Nylander and Tavares' stats are. It bleeds through the entire roster. It bleeds through the fans. It bleeds through the front office. Like, it bleeds through the streets of Toronto. Everyone, as soon as that goal went in, I said out loud to Allie, they're dead. It's 1-0 in the second period. I was right. How was I right? It was 1-0. Like, it was crazy how much
Brady Tkachuk leaves with a goal and 2 assists, and he gets to wave to the crowd and feels good about the night. And
by the way, no one in Ottawa was any good offensively. There's not one player on our team on their team where you're like, look over that guy.
But to Sammy's point there too, I think that's one of the most concerning things is we always want to know the question of what was it going to look like when the Leafs got punched in the mouth, right? Mm-hmm. When they were up 3-0 in the series, it was, hey, they still need to pass the ghost test, which is what happens when there's a scary moment, and will you get that in this series? And they got it in the second period with that goal, which again was a seeing eye puck. Right after, again, Matthews missed the net and then lost the draw and screened his own goaltender. But the goal goes in, and you're dead right. The game completely changed. Toronto's attitude completely changed. The arena completely changed. And it didn't feel like a group that said, okay, we've been here before. Don't worry, we'll overcome it. It felt like a group that says, oh my God, we've been here before. We're going to lose. We're exact same as Sammy on the couch yelling at his wife.
Yeah, now, is there a chance that this is, they go through this and feel the ghosts again and find their way through, and it's helpful to have gone through it in this round?
Sure, but this is the ultimate like fool me. What's the George Bush one where he's like
fool me 14
once,
times.
Shame on you. Fool
you.
me twice. Won't get fooled again. Like they're 1-13 in elimination games.
1-13.
Also, I just want to add that Marner getting picked on that play there, the goal is a definite penalty. That tough Browns. There's nothing to do with any of this, but anyway.
Yeah. So game 6 talk.
Well, I got a couple more things on this one.
Okay.
One is, if we're doing positives, I really liked the Lorentz line, and like he and Scott Lawton, I thought were all around it tonight, and Calle Yarncroke too, to a lesser degree, but those guys were fearless. And Scott Lawton, Steven Lorentz was like a millisecond away from tucking in a puck that would have made him the hero of Toronto, because I genuinely believe if Toronto scores one goal there from Steven Lorentz, it completely tilts the tide and they grab the momentum and they slaughter Ottawa the rest of the game. We'll never know. And this is like Leafs fan fiction is the only way you can win. Is I'm like, yeah, Lorentz does this happens. But I really believe that was almost a moment. But those guys never changed the way that they played. So much of this series, one of the only concerning things to me has been, I don't like how Toronto never seems to really be able to build shift on shift. And those guys have been shift builders for them, where it's like they can go in, they can create, they're not scoring, but they give opportunities for the next guys to come over the boards and hem in Ottawa's defense and actually create. So plus for those guys tonight. Okay,
I got a couple of not plus.
Can I build on that quickly, that Lorentz thing?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I love Steve Lorentz. He's been really good at that line, was their best by far tonight. Like multiple times I'd be like, can you just put them back out there? They're way more threatening than Matthews and Marner are tonight. Way less scared, way more physical. Can I just get a low blocker rip on that? Can I get a hard shot on net?
I like
it's a great play.
Yeah.
It's not. He delays a long time, lets two guys get back on him. He delays. Perron lifts his stick. Easy play for him. Like I know it was. He came right back. Listen, if he back checks, like if Willie back check like on the Cousins shorty like Perron did, we may be having a different conversation here. But like Perron just lifts his stick, it's gone. I love Stevie Lorentz. Would have loved just a hard wrister there. Get it low on the pads, let it come out to the guy he's on the 2-on-1 with. I get it.
It doesn't go in, so you're right.
My minor quit.
Well, I think though it's like if you get an open cage and it takes a full like hard ass back check to lift your stick at the last moment as a puck bobbles away and you're a fourth liner and you created that, I think you did something pretty good. Like, and if he shoots that wrister and it just is an easy save that goes and gets broken out the other way, we're going, oh, that's why you're a fourth liner, right? Like it's the defensive back that goes for the interception instead of going for the ball to just tip it down, where you're like, man, it's just an easy thing, I think, to kind of go over. But ultimately, I just thought that they were good. Borny, you were about to say something else on this game.
Two things is, you had mentioned after the first goal that they score that the Leafs get tight and feels like it's over. They were nervous out of the gate. I can't remember a game where they fanned on or mishandled so many pucks to start the game. 3 separate times they're behind the D in the first 5-10 minutes. You had Nylander fanned on it, then Domi fanned on it, McMahon fanned on one. I got a list of fanned pucks and mishandled pucks. Really strange. And I don't know if that's nerves or what, but man, they just didn't handle the puck the skilled way they usually do. The next thing is Berube. It doesn't work and you get to be critical of it. McMahon is lost. He should have started on the second line, given him a chance. Robertson, not being in. Pacioretty gave you absolutely nothing for a second game in a row.
Yeah.
Those end up looking like mistakes.
By the way, I'm not going to Robertson, but I'm taking Pacioretty out. It's got to be David Kampf's time here. Going on the road where you're not going to dictate the matchups. This can't be Nick Robertson game. You can't overreact to the fact that you didn't score goals. You've just got to continue to lean into the top guys need to do it. Power play ghosts, by the way. Oof.
They're all there. Every ghost. Every ghost is there.
The power play looked good early before Nyes took that penalty and then absolutely trucked Shane Pinto, who went in on him. And he was like, lovely. Oh, yeah. He's like, do you want to see who I am? All I could think of is, does Matthew Nyes train in the offseason on those sleds that they use in football dryland training? Like, because that was a leverage play. That's on like Gruden's grinders right there. It's like he's putting together the highlight film for the NFL Combine. But Where was I going? I got foggy brain.
Stolarz wall. Any chance you guys happy with the goalie?
No, the goalie stays. And why he stays? The play of the game that got lost was the pad save that Stolarz made in the third period when
to bail out another massive Matthews turnover straight up the gut, by the way.
That save was a 10 out of 10 great save. And I thought, again, it was a moment where you're like, go get one for your goalie here, but these guys don't have that gear, so they didn't do it.
They didn't get one for their goalie. So yeah, I don't know about Robertson though. Like at this point,
they're both in for me.
You're gonna leave Pacioretty in, Bunk, or are you taking Pacioretty out?
No. I would take Pacioretty out and I would put Kampf in.
Domi, see ya.
Domi can't go out.
Domi got bumped up to the second line tonight when they were searching for one, so I don't think that Berube takes him out.
So I don't think he does either. That's my lineup though. Domi out, Pacioretty out.
Yeah. You mentioned McMahon potentially going up to the second line, and I do agree, but at the same time, what are you rewarding with him?
Yeah,
like what?
He had a big hit tonight.
You're trying to plug him back in, Sam.
Like what are you trying to like? I know, but if you're the coach and you're going with your second line here, he can't receive a pass, fellas. Like he can't, like you said, he's fumbling he can't shoot it. He doesn't get to the middle of the ice.
You're not at teaching point of the season. You need this guy you need to give him a chance to find himself.
Yeah. I guess he's maybe just Berube's kind of like, I don't know, man. Because
Berube doesn't like him.
Clearly, because that line was great for long stretches of this season. And for him to not go with it tonight in a must win, chasing the game, down a goal, down 2 goals, he just can't stand him right now. So
yeah, I think Domi was doing just enough to make it seem like he was doing things tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like he was getting in on the offensive zone, he's overskating pucks, and then he was trying to get in on the forecheck, but then to no avail. But like he was there, and I think that energy sort of, I don't know, tricked Berube, or if you just thought, hey, McMahon's not doing anything, so I might as well go.
Maybe that's what it was.
Something,
yeah.
But I'm with you on this, Bourne, is like that line at least at times gave you real pop. And I think you got to try and see if you can rediscover it. But then again, it gets back to the same issue, which is like we've figured out that the Lorentz line works and you're not messing around with it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay, so let's just play it out where Pacioretty comes out and Robertson goes in. So now you've got a Domi, Robertson, Pontus, Holmberg line.
Yeah. That's not a good hockey line.
On the road?
No, I don't want Domi out there. That's not my line.
Okay, so, but even still, then if, let's just say you got your wish and Domi's out, and then you have Pontus Holmberg playing with David Kampf, and then Nick Robertson is there just doing what exactly on that line?
Yeah, you might have to rejig the whole thing. I mean, you can't be that married to that fourth line that's scored no goals. I get we like it and it hits and stuff, but you gotta figure something out here. Hey, by the way, the complete opposite how the Leafs have been playing. Puck and OZ time, they had 8 more minutes than Ottawa tonight, and expected goals were in Ottawa's favor overall.
Yeah, listen, this is the Toronto Maple Leafs special, is the deserve to win meter. Hey, we're getting everything.
But it hasn't been bunked for 30 games.
No, I know. I'm just saying that in the playoffs in the past, when they've had these choke job performances, it's like power play doesn't score, take a stupid penalty, which was like Morgan Riley with the one behind his own net, like just really bad. I thought maybe that could have been a boarding call too, by the way, that the Leafs kind of got away with one.
Yeah.
What?
Could have been a major, you mean?
Major, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Like it's like he sees the numbers, he's right behind him, he just buries them. You got nothing in a game 5 from your core players. Your fans were tight. Your goal, you got a quote that said we're snake bit. It's
bingo, baby.
Yeah, the whole world is celebrating. Everybody's getting clipped. Everybody who had a moment of optimism after being up 3-0 like a normal franchise would gets clipped into oblivion for the next 2 days. Like it's hell. This is hell.
Yeah, like I really don't want to do this anymore. Like I'm so sick of doing this.
Yeah. Like, 4 hours of radio, Sam, 2 hours of just Leafs talk over the next 2 days before they play again.
But no, it's just
oh god.
It's not
and
even
my only out is the Blue Jays.
Oh my god. Hey, Vladdy went deep tonight.
Yeah. Vladdy, when there's no pressure on, boy, oh boy. It's like Vladdy and Matthews. Look, these
Varsho may have made the greatest catch in baseball history tonight, by the way.
Yeah, it was. It was incredible. It really was.
Go check that out.
Yeah, it really was. If you haven't seen the Varsho catch, go watch the Varsho catch.
The last thing I'll say is, we've kind of alluded to it, but I'm just sick for Leaf fans and people have to talk about this team.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's unbelievable. We're here. Like
Well, it just sucks so bad that again, being up 3-0, even now, is turned into something.
You're not even allowed to be happy about it.
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
you can never go into any other series down the road. You get up 3-0. Oh, he's gonna let him back in it like Ottawa got back. It's just, it sucks. There's never a moment of enjoyment, even when you think you're at your highest. That's when the ghosts sneak up. They're like, "Oh, I saw you were pretty happy there. I'm coming for you, buddy."
Yeah. It's like they haven't won since 1967, and this core has been such a failure. It's like, can you not just do another embarrassing one? Can you just not do this?
Yeah, can you just lose normally?
Yeah, like I there's no question you would have rather gotten swept than
Of
to
course.
have the reverse sweep.
Of course, no
Yeah,
question.
Yeah.
So, in your heart of heart, last thing a question I'll ask: 7.
They win. They win Game 6. In my heart of hearts, they win Game 6.
Listen, I've already looked like a dumb idiot for saying I like this team and that they're different and like celebrate being up 3-0. It's normal to celebrate good things happening to you. They're gonna win in Game 6. I'm on, like, I got 10 toes down. I can't, like, it's the same joke as before where it's like you can't pull over anymore. Like, we're already pulled over.
I'm already pulled over. I can't pull over any farther.
Can't pull over anymore. This already sucks.
Boys,
it already hurts. Yeah.
I know we were all looking forward to a weekend off, but I'll see you Saturday night for Game 7.
I think if it goes 7, the Leafs will lose.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think it's going there. I do.
Like, can you imagine? You think it was tight in that arena tonight? Like,
I saw all I needed to see tonight, boys.
I
saw all I needed to see.
If I was the city of Toronto, if it comes back here for Game 7, I would say, listen, you saw the host of Leafs Talk, right? COVID's back. We got to shut up. We got to shut the buildings down. Nobody's allowed inside, including camera people. And then they just post the result like in a newspaper.
No, they should do. They should just be like, we got to shut the league down right now. Shut the league down. No more hockey.
No fans in the building. That's for sure. Like, no one's allowed.
Just no hockey. No sport.
But just, you can't make people pay to go see them play Game 7 against Ottawa. Like, you can't.
No.
That's gotta, like, that's free. That's free. That's on you. You gotta pay people to go that. There's no way I would go to that Game 7 with a free ticket. Like,
you couldn't pay me $2,000 to go to that game.
No shot. You're a psycho if you're going to that game. And like, I'm all the power to you if you're like, you got to support the team. Like, yeah, somebody's got to do the job. But the way I view you is like frontline infantry. You know, like you're.
Yeah, I'll be back here. You go take those bullets.
Send them in.
You're not one of the people we need. You know? But you are, but like not for later.
So the last thing, Craig Berube, stick with it. We're up 3-2 in the series. It's playoff hockey. There's lots of ups and downs. We need composure. We got to stay poised, stay composed. We gotta keep our composure. We gotta keep our composure.
I mean, they did come through in old school.
They did.
Yeah, they did. They yelled, "I gotta keep composure," and then they did come through. So let's hope that somebody can go into the Will Ferrell catatonic state and deliver an all-time performance on the big stage.
Believe in Craig Berube. He's like the one piece of this that I believe in.
Anyways, I'm back on my show tomorrow. My voice is like, if this sounds bad, I got to tell you, like, it was literally not usable the last 2 days, but thank you to everybody that sent me nice notes. Back on JD Bunker's podcast tomorrow. For 2 days of me talking more about what I talked about. Yeah. And some Blue Jays.
Oh my God. Tune into the JD Bunker podcast, everyone.
I'm sick and the teams are terrible. Here's 3 hours.
I gotta tell you, might skip tomorrow. Tomorrow.
I got a garbage voice, and I'm going to talk about the 2 things causing you the most pain.
Up next, your parents' divorce.
Yeah, exactly. Honest to God. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkus, at JT Bourne, at Sam A. McKee. Subscribe to this podcast for the love of God, and leave a thumbs up on YouTube. Share the clips, do those things. We'll see you on Thursday.
celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Hi, Arash Madani here. At Honda, they built the CRV Sport just like you'd build a team for the playoffs. Reliable performance? It's a Honda. Versatility? You've got all-wheel drive. High IQ plays? That's Honda sensing technology. Resilience and grit? You bet. After all, it's Canadian. Make your playoff drive count. Bring home the Ontario-built CRV Sport. Lease today with rates from 0.99% for 24 months. OAC conditions apply. Made with domestic and imported parts. See HondaOntario.com.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
Audience is waiting. The ticking clock makes people realize we don't have time to screw around. We got to fix this and do it right now. So that was, in many ways, as miserable it was for, and particularly with my team, because I had a great team, but they did the heavy lifting because in essence, we had to do everything on handshakes. You're not going to get everything documented, but you're talking about the most honorable parties on earth, the mayor, Fox, Liberty Media. When they shake your hand, it's gold. And so we got it all done, and here we are.
What was it like this is 1997, so no e-transfers. What was it like to tell the Rangers, to quote a song, to take this and shove it? Who made the call and said, by the way, here's the check for Joe Sakic, bye-bye, NYC?
Well, Pierre went to Joe's house and delivered the money. I got up with Liberty and Fox and the mayor at City Hall, and we announced the arena deal, Fox and Liberty. And we were coordinated. It was choreographed. And then I was a speechwriter when I was a kid. And I had the blessing to do some work for the governor of New York when he was vice president, Nelson Rockefeller. And he had that famous picture where he was being heckled and he offered his opinion of that. And that picture of him flipping the bird was, I figured, a nice gift to send Dave Checketts, who's a good friend of mine, by the way.
I love it. I never knew that. I love it.
Get the latest news, opinion, and analysis from MMA to boxing and the professional wrestling world 24/7. SiriusXM Fight Nation, SiriusXM 156, and the SXM app.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Tuesday, April the 29th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Toronto Maple Leafs take on Ottawa Senators. Maple Leafs on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 946, Senators on Internet 939. 7:30 p.m., Carolina Hurricanes face the New Jersey Devils. Hurricanes on Sirius 210, XM 219, and Internet 924, Devils on Internet 936. 9:30 p.m., Vegas Golden Knights face the Minnesota Wild. Knights on Sirius 211, XM 220, and Internet 949, Wild on Internet 933. 10 p.m. LA Kings face the Edmonton Oilers. Kings on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 932. Oilers on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 930. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Tuesday, April the 29th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL playoffs, 7 p.m., Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Ottawa Senators. Maple Leafs on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 946, Senators on Internet 939. 7:30 p.m., Carolina Hurricanes face the New Jersey Devils. Hurricanes on Sirius 210, XM 219, and Internet 924. Devils on Internet 936. 9:30 p.m., Vegas Golden Knights face the Minnesota Wild. Knights on Sirius 211, XM 220, and Internet 949. Wild on Internet 933. 10 p.m. LA Kings face the Edmonton Oilers. Kings on Sirius XM channels 167, Internet 932. Oilers on Sirius XM channels 91, Internet 930. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, keep it locked on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, channel 91. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your Sirius XM NHL schedule for Tuesday, April the 29th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject